Yesterday, Dale Jr. stopped by the best pit stop of the weekend, the Arby's Great American Cheesesteak Race.
Dale, how are you? Good to see you, man.
He caught up with Cody Ware showing off his car and took in the rest of the action.
All right, the green is out.
Like fans tearing up the track on big wheels in hopes of winning the Arby's Golden Angus Cheesesteak Trophy. He also stopped by the Arby's RV, where a few lucky folks got to enjoy the Angus cheesesteak. You can try it too. Race to the Arby's app to find out how.
Really great stuff right there. Every time I come to Chicago, I can't help but think of the great Ferris Bueller when he said life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you might miss it. We're not going to miss anything today. That is because Adam Alexander, Steve Letarte, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. holding it down. Adam, I'll let you handle the quotes from this point on.
I was really nervous when you started with Ferris Bueller and then you throw it up to the broadcast booth. So good to be with everybody on this Sunday afternoon. Here we are in Chicago, and this is my first trip to Chicago for the street race. The track is amazing. The energy, outstanding here, Dale.
Yeah, I was here for the first one, and I thought the energy was good then, but this just feels even bigger. Fans really love this track, and I think it's because it's had such great action over the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's a big sports town, so when you bring an event to a town like this, it just amplifies everything.
Let's take a look at this track map.
Well, it's a very difficult track, right? Start-finish line is right here. See if I can do this without messing it up. To give you an idea, turn 1 left-hander. Turn 2 will then send you down to Lakeshore, a little kink for turn 3. Then 4 or 5, Dale's been action-packed all week.
Yeah, a lot of trouble in the braking zone of turn 4. And then you get down this Columbus Drive out of turn 5. Turn 6, there's a tire pack down there we see a lot of cars end up in. And then some very challenging turns, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Those are all right there together in sync of each other. That's where SVG makes up a lot of time. Finally, turn 12 onto the front straightaway.
I would say when you go to most road courses, there are certain trouble spots. But yesterday during practice and qualifying, I feel like we had it everywhere here. So many issues for some elite drivers.
Yeah, it's really wild to see the drivers still challenged by this course as they continue to come here now their third year, still having issues pushing to the limit, but there's no runoff, there's nowhere to escape if you get yourself in trouble.
That's the combination. Rough, bumpy, difficult. Oh, by the way, no margin for error. I think we can't say that enough. And by the way, that was by themselves. That was just practice. Now we're going to line them all up together, pushing and shoving. It's going to be great.
And now you start handicapping the field. And immediately you go to the guy on the pole, won the Xfinity race yesterday, Shane Van Gisbergen, got the win here in his first ever Cup start 2 years ago. He's someone, no doubt, that starts this race in the favorite position.
Well, he has a chance to have the perfect weekend. 2 poles, 2 wins. If he can pull it off today, that's something that very few have accomplished. It would be amazing.
Don't be surprised, though, if Ty Gibbs has another great run today. And also Tyler Reddick in another Toyota has been strong on the road courses this year.
You know, we talk about momentum in racing, and the guy that's got it right now, the one that won last Saturday night in Atlanta, Chase Elliott, but he's coming from deep in the field today.
Yeah, trying to beat rush hour traffic on your way to your reservation. You got to work the city streets while getting in front of 39 of your competitors. He's going to have a lot going on.
He's one of many elite drivers coming from the back. Can't wait for it here in Chicago. Right now we're going trackside for the command.
Here to give the command for NASCAR's 3rd annual Chicago Street Race, please welcome Chicago Bulls legend, 3-time NBA All-Star, the youngest ever NBA MVP, philanthropist, and Chicago legend, Derrick Rose.
Chicago, let's go! Drivers, start your engine!
Arby's is taking over NASCAR, and it's time to go get your free Arby's cheesesteak. Now through Monday, Arby's is giving away 100,000 free cheesesteaks with purchase online only. Terms and conditions apply. Hurry to the Arby's app before they're gone. Cody Ware in that beautiful cheesesteak Arby's number 51-4 today. It's going to be interesting to see all those cheesesteaks all over town.
No doubt. Get yours now. The race about to begin in Chicago. 3rd time we've raced on the streets in the Windy City. And for now, there's no rain. We're going to start this thing in the dry. Hang with us on TNT.
Hold on to your hat, Chicago. The NASCAR Cup Series is coming to town. Racing through the streets of downtown Chicago is a completely different beast than what most NASCAR drivers are used to. Instead of wide banked turns on a traditional oval, the Chicago street course winds tightly around city blocks with concrete walls on both sides and no room for mistakes. The track stretches 2.2 miles and features 12 turns, but it's not just the layout that makes it unique, it's the setting. Drivers race past landmarks like Buckingham Fountain and speed along Lake Michigan, all while navigating the uneven, unpredictable surface of public roads. And the straightaways are fast but short, and the braking zones demand absolute precision. There's little grip, no runoff, and every lap feels like threading a needle at 100 miles an hour. What makes this race so exciting is the constant tension. One wrong move can end your day, and the changing weather or track conditions only add to the chaos. It's not just about raw speed, it's about control, adaptability, and guts. Chicago forces drivers out of their comfort zone and throw them into a street fight in the middle of a major city. We caught up with last year's winner, Alex Bowman, and here's what he had to share about racing in the streets of Chicago.
Yeah, honestly, the Chicago street course is just really fun until it rains and it gets pretty sketchy, but yeah, really fun to drive, fun to make laps, super technical. Got to run just below the threshold instead of just over, and yeah, it's really technical. I enjoy it a lot.
Last year, the race was on a wet and dry day in the streets of Chicago, where the 48 team had the winning pit strategy to take home the checkered flag. This ended an 80-race drought for Bowman and secured his spot into the playoffs. Who will be king in Chicago? Let's watch and see.
Welcome to the Chicago Street Race. 12 turns, 2.2 miles.
A lot of opportunities to push and shove.
You better go or you're going to go in the wrong direction.
Don't make it happen.
This thing is going to be entertaining.
Here we go.
It's 4th of July weekend in Chicago. NASCAR back for a third trip. Racing on the streets. Coverage on TNT. Presented by Arby's. Happy to have you along for the ride. Now we hear from our pit reporters. We start things off with Mamba Smith. What's happening, Mamba?
Guys, I'm down in turn 1 where a lot of the chaos is. It's very tight getting off pit road, so drivers have to be aware of that when they're coming off pit road and who's getting down into turn 1. Now, the funny thing about this racetrack is turn 1 is actually right adjacent to turn 6. You see some of the spotters here. Turn 6 is one of the fastest parts of this racetrack, upwards to 145 miles an hour. Super rough terrain, different asphalt and concrete down there. Danielle?
Mamba, yesterday, Shane Van Gisbergen won the Xfinity race here at Chicago. Afterwards, because his cool shirt went out, he had to go to the infield care center and get some IV fluids. These cool shirts are great when they work. In the summer, they really help keep the driver's ambient body temperature, their core body temp, about 30 degrees cooler than it is outside. The way it works is with this pump system, connects into the car. Then it pumps cold water through these green rubber tubes. The problem is when the system and the pump itself breaks, all the water in these tubes becomes hot, and it makes it even worse inside the car. Think about it like you're in your passenger car. The windows are up and you have the heat blasting for 4 hours. That's how hot it gets. This shirt is also very, very thick material. It can make it miserable inside the car. A lot of drivers have these on today, guys. It is hot here in Chicago. Alan?
Danielle, Denny Hamlin will start this race at the back of the field because of an engine change. It was really the worst case scenario on Saturday for Hamlin and the 11 car. He wasn't even up to speed yet on the first lap of practice before his engine just exploded. Didn't get one lap of practice on the racetrack, and we could see it afterwards. He was visibly just angry at the situation. Of all the tracks that have no practice, this is not the one you want that to happen. But I talked to his crew chief, Chris Gale. He told me if there's anyone good at putting yesterday behind him, it's Denny Hamlin. He's able to take what he needs to do, control what he can control, and he's got a lot of work to do because he's starting in the back of this field. He's got to start passing cars on lap 1, Marty Snyder.
Alan, speaking of cars that will have to start at the back of the field, add Kyle Larson. In fact, I'll add all 4 Hendrick Motorsports cars to that list as well. They all will start in the back today. For Larson, he had contact with the wall in qualifying yesterday. He tried to go make another qualifying attempt, but the damage was just too bad. Cliff Daniels told me this morning they were here until 11 p.m. last night fixing this car. They were back in at 8 a.m. this morning. He told me it's pretty much a brand new race car. The entire right side of the 5 has been changed for this race today. But Adam, you know, Kyle Larson knows his way to the front at road course. It's going to be fun to watch this 5 this afternoon.
Yeah, Marty, we just had the graphic in. 6 wins on the road, 3 coming in the next gen era for Kyle Larson. No doubt he'll be a driver to watch coming from the back today. It's just about time for the green flag in Chicago. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. NASCAR Cup Series racing on TNT is brought to you by Arby's. We have the meats. Progressive. Save when you bundle motorcycle, home, RV, and boat insurance. Visit progressive.com. And by Napa Auto Parts. Qualifying happened here yesterday. We get now the Arby's starting grid. Front row, 2 elite drivers. When you talk about racing on the road, we've discussed Shane Van Gisbergen and all he's done here in Chicago alongside Michael McDowell. 2 top 10s and 2 starts here in the Windy City.
Let's check in with Shane, see what he's thinking. Shane, it's Dale Jr. in the booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you, mate.
Great win yesterday. I know you weren't feeling well after the race. How are we doing today?
Yeah, I'm all good. I cooked myself yesterday. Just a bit hot, but rehydrated and feeling good. Looking forward to today. My cars yesterday were really good, so thanks to you as well. But yeah, WeatherTech Chevy's great today. Thank you to Trackhouse Group. Car's awesome, but yeah, big challenges coming up. It's a tough race, and going to be a lot of strategy, weather. See how we go.
Thanks for talking to us, buddy. Good luck.
Thank you. Have a good day.
He just says things different. I mean, I love those interviews with Shane Van Gisbergen. And back now to our RB starting grid. Talk about Michael McDowell, row 1. His teammate Carson Hocevar, row 2, a pair of runner-ups this year. He's there with Tyler Reddick. Chase Briscoe won at Pocono this season. He's in row 3. Chris Buescher in row 4. He won last fall at Watkins Glen. He's there with his teammate Ryan Preece, who had great speed earlier this year in Mexico City. Watch Ty Gibbs. We talk about him, 2 top 10s and 2 starts at Chicago. Next to Austin Dillon, a top 10 starting spot on a road course for the first time in 5 years.
Alex Bowman won this race last year, but he's got a little bit of work to do after some damage from qualifying. You see Kyle Larson also going to the back of the field, back there in row 7. Damage to his car. Christopher Bell also on the road courses. Should see him work his way toward the front. Brad Keselowski, AJ Allmendinger in row 8. AJ, a favorite to go up there and mix it up today. And then Ryan Blaney and Daniel Suarez in row 9. We know Daniel has been let go by Trackhouse at the end of this season. He'll be planning his future going forward. Will Brown running a race with us this weekend with Todd Gilliland in row 10.
Riley Herbst in row 11, starting his first Cup Series, has a couple of Xfinity starts here. He'll start next to Ross Chastain. Cole Custer and Noah Gragson back in row 12. Noah with a top 10 at COTA, so he has a lot of experience in the road courses. Impresses at times, and he loves this challenge. He'll be going up against Ryan Preece in that. John Hunter Nemechek and Zane Smith. Dale will have his eye on Zane Smith as he faces off against Chris Buescher. Dale's picked forward all. Austin Cindric and Justin Haley will be in row 14. Row 15, Josh Berry and Austin Hill finished 4th in the Xfinity race yesterday. Cup race today.
Back in row 16, Josh Bilicki and Ricky Stenhouse raced 6th here last year. And Catherine Legg did an awesome job making the race and qualifying with Eric Jones back in row 17. Then Cody Ware in that Arby's Ford and Ty Dillon in row 18. In row 19, Bubba Wallace, William Byron, and also in row 20, Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin, 4 drivers trying to work their way forward after having to go to the rear of qualifying.
You know, we want to put an exclamation point on all these drivers going to the rear, and we mentioned them there, but it's worth another pop because these are some significant names that we feel like at the end of the day are going to be right there in the hunt.
We've never seen anything like this. I think it's speaking to the difficulty of the racetrack. SVG said it was probably the most difficult street course in the world, and you know, we saw a lot of challenges in practice and qualifying, and this is the result.
Let's hear from our pit reporters again. Danielle, you're up first.
Adam, Michael McDowell has Chicago ties. His dad is from here, downtown streets of Chicago, and is attending the race to watch his son win. His crew chief Travis Peterson said that is the goal because points do nothing for us. With 8 races to go in the regular season, we're too far below the cut. We want to find clean air and be in position if SVG makes a mistake, Alan.
Danielle, William Byron ended practice yesterday calling himself an idiot. He cooked it into turn 10, wrecked his car. The team was here until 11 o'clock last night, fixing the entire left side, the rear as well. If there's any good aspect to this, he was really fast before then, and he came from the rear last year to finish 8th. Marty Snyder.
The 17 team of Chris Buescher is 52 points above the cut line with 8 races left in the regular season. And Scott Graves told me this morning, we will continue to be aggressive with strategy. It hasn't hurt us so far, but the playbook wide open for crew chiefs today, Adam.
I think that report was for you. I mean, he's popping to 17, your man, Chris Buescher. Here we go. Front row, McDowell, Van Gisbergen off of turn 12, and we are racing on the streets of Chicago.
Really good job right here by the 71 of McDowell. He anticipated the launch of SVG back at the restart zone for the initial start of the race. Now challenging back to the inside in turn 2.
Crossover move. Van Gisbergen trying to get there.
That's what he does. SVG is on attack in every corner, even when you don't expect it. It didn't work out. He loses a little bit of ground. Reddick will now put him under attack. A very defensive line by the 88 on the inside. Oh, no, 2 wide through 4. Will it work? Barely. A foot maybe to the tire pack.
Make a note of that, and now we check in on William Byron coming from the back.
Yeah, I have a major clutch slipping here. through the gears, like just accelerating straight line, smooth. Yeah, I don't know what to do here. I'm not sure how this is going to go.
All right, clutch issue. This would be a huge issue for pit stops. You don't really use the clutch on the racetrack as we see Briscoe dive into the inside of Hocevar, but we'll just have to see. This can become an issue, and in the end, Alan, it could hurt the gearbox on the 24.
100%. They don't know exactly what to tell him to fix it. He says, I just can't accelerate. Seems to be going better than it was, but you have all the Hendrick brass down here, including crew chief Rudy Fugel, trying to figure out what to tell him and if they can fix it. We'll see what's going on down here.
Dale, these drivers didn't get the memo that 10 of them hit the wall yesterday. They are driving like this is easy and non-issue, passing where you're not supposed to.
Yeah, and you can see right here in turn 11, just a lot of checkups, a lot of contact right there. Chase Elliott, a few of the cars getting together, a lot of lockups.
How about McDowell? All that talk about SVG. He said, I'm ready. I don't care how much he's won.
Kyle Busch right there in third place and at number 8 for RCR. Right ahead of Reddick.
The one that really got shuffled out at the beginning of this race, Carson Hocevar, starts on row 2, drops back to 7th. Kyle Busch taking advantage. We talk about Tyler Reddick's situation, who's 4th. Chris Buescher scored inside the top 5 as they come down Lakeshore Drive and into turns 4 and 5.
I mean, they look like they're wrecking even when they aren't. That braking into turn 4 is just out of control.
Yeah, we saw that yesterday in practice and qualifying. The cars just, every time they would come into turn 4, it looked like they were going to miss the corner. A lot of tires squealing and hopping. This corner as well into turn 6. We saw a lot of problems in the last couple of years here, particularly in the wet. But even in the dry, these drivers have found the limit of the racetrack and going beyond it now with their aggression and their confidence. The more they run here, the more brazen they get at pushing the limit in these corners.
Adam, I have the whole track in my mind kind of broke up into 2 sections. I call it high speed, 12 basically to 6, and then technical, which is the section we're in right here. That's, you know, it's just how my mind breaks it up. The technical section, time can be made. Not a lot of positions unless, of course, you're Ty Gibbs, and right there you kind of shove your way into the inside. Oh, now a block.
Priest trying to block him low there, so Ty Gibbs will offset and try to turn under him right here and have acceleration down the front straightaway. He's hoping the 60 is going to bleed to the right so he can drive to the inside here of turn 1. That's what's going to happen. Can he outbrake down into turn 1? Not able to do it.
Now back to the high speed. 24 looks like he's out of power, Dale.
Yeah, 24 is just really struggling. They had this car in pieces after the crash in practice.
You're coming to pit road this time. Pit road.
I mean, when I walked through the garage the other
Try to do
day,
what you can to get back. I'll get you to the DVD.
this car was completely taken apart after that wreck.
Came in with a regular season points lead, but keep this in mind, 27th or worse in 3 of the last 4 races for William Byron. So they've been on a bit of a slide, opening the door for others to take advantage here down the stretch of the regular season.
And momentum is real in any sport, specifically in this one. I think you just don't want to give it up before the playoffs start. I know we still have some races ahead, but that slide you talked about is real.
And a lot of tracks between now and the end of the regular season where things can go wrong and you can lose a lot of points in one single event.
Great run right there by the 3 of Austin Dillon. As we're riding on board with the buildsubmarines.com in-car cam and riding out looking out the bumper at Ty Gibbs. Look at the work that he's having to do through this technical part of the racetrack. How much movement there is in the steering wheel.
Oh,
contact.
Hocevar around.
Hocevar's around. Someone's getting blocked by the 77. A big pile of cars.
Just no room to work, and they're all wedged together here.
And that's the problem with this racetrack, where the spotters cannot see everything. You can tell that everybody's running into this wreck with no understanding that there are cars blocking the racetrack. So obviously, no spotters in any location are able to give warning to these drivers.
Brad Keselowski has stopped, Suarez, Will Brown, Todd Gilliland a part of that, Riley Herbst, and you see right in front of it the 77 of Carson Hocevar, qualified row 2.
Oh my goodness, such a hard lick right there. And he spins right around in front of Dillon. And now here comes everybody piling into this crash. Wow.
They have no idea, right? I mean, all of these cars continuing. This is just going to be a huge hit for the 77. Let's go on board with Brad K. Take a look at this.
Oh my gosh.
We were just talking about Austin Dillon and the job that he was doing inside the top 10 and one of the handful of drivers collected here. 77 radio, Carson Hocevar.
Hitting the stop.
too hard, and I was trying to get too far right. Finally hit it.
So I believe he's making a comment of coming through turns 9. He was trying to get too far right to be able to set up for turn 10 and hit that barrier right there. Shot himself across the racetrack. So he hits the barrier on the interior of turn 10. We saw Tyler Reddick do the same thing in the final laps of this race last year, trying to chase down Alex Bowman.
Riding here with Austin Cindric.
You're like, please don't hit me. Please don't run into back. You finally get the car stopped, and you look in the mirror immediately to see if the rest of the field is going to come driving through you, because you know that you had no idea anything was there, and everyone behind you is coming at full speed.
I mean, just like what you do on the highway, right? They're checking up in front of you, you get woed, and immediately you look up in your rearview mirror to make sure the guy behind you is paying attention.
Yeah, do I need to pull off the side of the road here?
Exactly.
Now we're going to red flag to get this untangled. Dale, you called it. That's 77. You know, he hits the big hammer. Look at the damage to the wall above. We stay right on this shot just for a second. Bring your attention all the way up here. Look at this wall. It kind of has this big jut in it right there. That's the damage from the 77. So they're probably going to have to repair that barrier. But it starts because he hits the other side, driver's right, which pitches him left.
Yeah, at the apex of turn 11, just clipping that wall. And the uniqueness of racing at a street course is this is the only place where these drivers are going to probably run against the barriers in the apexes of these corners, right? And I think we talked about this earlier today, guys, where we heard these drivers really tell us that they don't quite truly understand exactly how big these cars are, where the right side, where the left side is. And they actually get into the wall sometimes when they think they have plenty of room, because the car is just, they're still learning really where the corners of this race car is, because it's so big compared to the Xfinity car we race or the generation previous to this.
AMR safety team was there. You saw it, and they are getting an early workout. Let's go to Danielle.
Adam, we heard the 3 radio just before that collision tell Carson Hocevar's team. The 3 said Carson is wiggling all over the place. Stay away from the 77. Now you see the contact. And the 3 is in the pits right now fixing damage to the right rear from that wreck. So far, they're saying there's a right rear toe link that is broken.
Yeah, there's going to be a ton of damage from several cars in this accident. We take another look at this replay.
So top of the screen right there, Carson Hocevar. Dale, this is what you're talking about. He's trying to get as close to that wall as possible. And if we spin it forward, you see he hits the right side, and that's what moves him left.
Yeah, a little glance right there, and it just drives him straight into this outside wall. Look at that barrier move. And everybody's trying to slow down. And obviously, you have no idea where this next gen's going when it breaks these toe links. And neither does the guy driving it, because they just go everywhere like a forklift.
I knew you were going to get the forklift. He called some of my cars forklifts when they weren't even broken.
Always blame the crew chief. Back at Chicago with Steve Letarte, Dale Jr. I'm Adam Alexander. Now we get the Race to Know-How presented by Napa Auto Parts. What do you have for us here, Steve?
Well, I'll go first,
you
actually.
jump in,
here. Yeah, Steve will go next. I'm going to tell you the easy one because we just saw a great example of it.
That's right, yeah.
Walls everywhere.
Did you make this during the break, after the wreck, or before?
Well, this was something I was really concerned with after what we saw in practice and qualifying yesterday. There's nowhere to escape when you make a mistake. There's no sand traps or runoff, any kind of a little slip up or misjudgment, and you're going to damage your car, maybe others.
Adam was trying to blame me for the walls. You can blame me for the plan. You know what you need to have? You need to have a plan. This place will be emotional. It will test you. You have to decide if you're going to pit once or twice and stick to it. But watch this again. These are 10,000-pound concrete barriers. You can only put like 2 or 3 per flatbed on a tractor trailer, and watch this car move it like it's weightless. I mean, that is an unbelievable impact. And then to your point, Dale, whether there was a spotter, Alan Cavana was just above this exact straightaway in pre-race, talking about how hard it was to see. But your analogy of the interstate is absolutely right. No matter you're saying, like Todd Gillen is coming around the corner on the gas, you know, all the spotter's going to let him know is, hey, man, you're going to hit him. You're going to run right into that. Like, you can't avoid it. Remember, we were riding on board, and we kind of like just snuck through that wreck. It was crazy.
But you can see in the back of that crash, Eric Jones comes flying in. He's 20 car lengths back of the wreck and still doesn't see it. And that's the mark on the wall right there from turn 10 on the interior side where the 77 made contact.
We had that big crash early in Atlanta last week, and it had an enormous impact on the in-season challenge bracket. Today we're going to have that as well. We're already drawn lines through drivers.
Can I just go Reddick right through to there? Let's advance. Go ahead and advance the Reddick car.
Ironically, both those drivers qualified up front, but it's Hocevar who collects himself early. You want to mark anybody else off here? Keselowski
this one I'm giving. I'm not ready to move it forward. This one I'm going to still give a question mark because I think Brad might be able to fix it and there's still some walls to hit. Although Ty Dillon, if he eliminates Brad, we'll never be up. Mamba won't even be able to come next week to Sonoma because we'll never hear the end of it. He's riding this Ty Dillon train.
It would appear that Reddick now, going to move on and not just move on in the in-season bracket, but he's someone that we feel like can go out and win this race day. And look at that. Wow.
We're breaking stuff everywhere.
Yeah, they just don't have that car up off the ground, and the tires are trying to turn while it's trying to be carried forward.
So just to update the rules, this car will go to the garage, and they do have this opportunity to repair it. There's not a limit on time. There is a limit on what you can change, though, right? I'm not going to bore you with the list, but there's parts and pieces, certain specific suspension parts can be changed. If the chassis is damaged, if anything in the safety has been compromised, or certain suspension parts, they won't repair it. So I was moving Reddick forward in the bracket, but until he's officially ruled out, Marty, I'm not sure we can do it.
See, we talked about Chris Buescher and one of the drivers above the cut line, but without a win so far in 2025, trying to make the playoffs. But before that caution came out, maybe an issue on the 17. Listen to the radio.
Just popping. Scan over here. I've got an offset in the lambda also. Was it like that from lap 1 or did it start after? Nope. This last lap we just ran it. Something changed, pulling gears down the back stretch into turn 4. It just lost power, just backfired.
So, Steve, Chris Buescher talking about the car losing power, and then it came back, but now they sit under the red flag conditions. Roush Yates officials are here with Scott Graves, kind of discussing what it could possibly be. So how concerned are you if you're Scott Graves for your driver? I mean, 3 laps into the race, and he's already saying there's a missing issue with the engine.
Concerned is absolutely. I mean, my nerves are high. My anxiety is very high. What they will do is the digital dash. It kind of looks like a readout in your car. Much like your car at home that has like the service pages, he'll be able to go through multiple pages on this dash once the car runs, and he'll be read a bunch of codes that'll make no sense to us, but the engine group will read those codes and decide maybe it's something you come down pit road and check on. But running 5th, and, you know, if there's nothing you can fix, you just don't need a pit at this point.
Tough start for RFK. Brad's involved in the crash. Question marks on the situation for Chris Buescher. Riding here with Cody Ware. the Arby's machine. Look at this, just easing over there and driving through, trying to keep that number 51 clean. We're coming back in a moment to Chicago. NASCAR Cup Series racing on TNT is brought to you by Brestree. Visit us at brestree.com. Arby's, we have the meats. And by Straight Talk Wireless, real unlimited data for fans of fast, official partner of NASCAR. Early red flag here at Chicago, eliminating some really good drivers, and we'll get more from pit road in a moment. First, we remind you of this: DraftKings Sportsbook is your home for live betting, and new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the app and use the promo code SPEED when you sign up. Let's go to Danielle.
The 12 car of Ryan Blaney, Adam, right now is being scored 12th. His crew chief, Jonathan Hassler, relaying to Ryan Blaney that it looked like he hit the 38 pretty square and no reason to think it offset the toe link. Will not pit when it opens and will monitor during the next run. How about 2 spots behind him? John Hunter Nemechek, his crew chief, Travis Mack, told his driver this morning, just stay out of trouble. If you do that, we'll beat half the field.
Hey, he's sticking to the plan. We talked about this, right? If you don't have damage, as much as you would love to come in and double check it, you can't give up spots.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of cars, though, that did flat spot tires and so forth, trying to stop for that wreck. And I want to talk to one of them, actually, Eric Jones. Let's see if we can get a hold of him here. Eric Jones, Dale Jr. in the booth. You got us?
I got you.
Man, we saw you trying to drive up on that crash. You looked like you were as surprised as everybody else to see all those cars stacked up right there. Tough place for spotters. What was your thoughts?
I mean, last second kind of heard there was a big wreck. Started trying to check up. You're going pretty quick there and in a kind of a bad spot to slow down. It's pretty rough. So, yeah, I was glad we got checked up enough to miss it. I got kind of wedged in there, but I don't really think we got any damage. So, yeah, I don't know what happened, obviously, but sounds like they hit hard enough to move the wall, so that's pretty impressive.
You think you need to come to pit road for any flat spots or anything like that?
I don't think so. We kind of got up to speed here on the back and up through third and a little bit to the fourth gear and felt okay. So I think we should be good to go.
Thanks for talking to us, buddy. Good luck.
So cool.
Yeah, pretty cool to be able to talk to the drivers. Firing the engine up, cycling fluids, and maybe even if you're late in the race, you might be rolling the car around trying to move the brake pads or the brake rotors around a little bit so they don't get hot and warped up. But all these guys are probably just sitting here ready to get this thing started. You've had all day trying to get this get this race going, and now here we are just a lap or so in and sitting under a red flag.
Let's hear Tyler Reddick audio.
77. Oh, that's your bracket challenge, buddy. I forgot about that. He's out? Yeah, I'm sure they'll work on it. I don't know if they can. The right front was flopping. It was completely gone.
You know, they say that they don't think about the bracket.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I don't look at it. That was your bracket guy. That was your bracket. I mean, it's like the first info.
Oh, by the way. By the way.
I love it.
Let's go back to Marty.
Adam, further update on Chris Buescher, who sits in 5th. Here was a conversation between he and his crew chief, Scott Graves, moments ago.
I mean, it's not going to go away, so we're going to have to come in and look at it and see what we can figure out. If you get the information to us, it at least helps us figure out which side to look at or start looking at first. So if I get you this information out of 11, do we pit right then? If you can get it, I mean, the sooner we pit.
So, Steve, here's the deal. They are telling him to get as much information as he can once the car refires. Go through that menu you talked about, right, to get Scott as much information as he can. Then they'll bring him down pit road. You see all the Roush Yates folks back here, the engine folks, trying to get something ready to fix this for Chris Buescher. But obviously, this is a very precarious situation for the 17 team, a team above the cut line without a win, who had high expectations today, but an early engine issue could put them in peril for the rest of the day.
And you know, Marty, I have to ask, we talk about how difficult this place is with the walls, but just the roughness of the surface, braking, gearboxes, even engines. I mean, Denny was a half a lap, so I'm not going to put that on the 11 car's engine. But the rest of all of these issues we're hearing, you know, is it just because it's rough? It's city streets. It's just physically beating these cars up, causing them to fail. Outside of warranty, for sure, too. That's the problem, Adam. Your warranty expired when you unloaded.
We only got 3 laps into this thing and under the red flag for a crash coming off of turn 10. Hopefully we're back under yellow and racing again soon in Chicago. You're watching the Grant Park 165 on TNT. Back here in Chicago, where yesterday we recognized some local heroes from right around the Windy City.
Yesterday, honorees from the Chicago Fire and Police Departments, the Chicago Department of Streets and Sanitation, and the Office of Emergency Management Communications were celebrated as hometown heroes by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois. During the Loop 110 NASCAR Xfinity Series race, these individuals were recognized for serving the city with dedication and professionalism. Each honoree had their name emblazoned on the deck lids of pace cars used in today's race. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois, founding partner of the NASCAR Chicago Street Race, salutes these hometown heroes that help make the city of Chicago so special.
Great day yesterday in Chicago, and wonderful to see those folks getting recognized, and we appreciate all the support they've offered us this weekend as we make our third trip here to race NASCAR on the streets of Chicago. Cup Series today, Xfinity cars yesterday. Red flag lifted, 14 minutes, 42 seconds officially there. So we're back under caution and evaluating what everybody needs here. A thought to strategy, and also talk about those cars that maybe had some damage, flat spotted their tires. Will they pit, won't they pit? All those questions going to be answered.
Leaders coming around turn 11 down the short chute to the final turn on to pit road. There were a lot of cars I saw locking up tires that will need to come to pit road just to change tires, maybe evaluate a little bit of damage in the back half of the field.
Chris Buescher among those that will make a pit stop, Marty.
As predicted, Adam, here comes Chris Buescher down pit road. See, they have no information. That's the biggest point that Scott Graves is kind of dealing with right now, other than Buescher saying it's backfiring and it's running rough. So what's going to happen, he's going to come in, he's going to shut the engine off, and you're going to see a Roush Yates person go under the hood and then also get the ECU out of this car seat. They feel like if they can get that ECU information, that will be their best point to know where they can go from here. So it's really, as much as anything, it's not running well, but they just don't have the information to even know where to start to get this fixed for the 17 team. But again, engine shut off for Chris Buescher, who gives up 5th to come down pit road.
ECU, engine control unit. It's on the dash, kind of in the center. You see one crew member on the inside. You see another guy on the outside. There's the other ECU getting ready to go in. It's held in with 2 quick disconnects with the electronics, and then it actually has kind of 4 posts it sits on, each with some guys use bolts, some guys use nuts on like a stud that it can sit down on. You have the gentleman in the black fire suit. He's under the hood, maybe checking plug wires and some other things. The real work is happening inside the car. Car can't be running, as Marty pointed out, to make this change. The real key is plug the new one in. If that doesn't fix the issue, okay, but then you can take the one that you removed, plug it into your computers, kind of like taking your car to the dealership. You're not allowed to plug in on pit road, so you can't download the information on pit road, but you could take that ECU that you removed back, plug it in your computer, see what type of codes it has. It's kind of like, hey, it's not your 1972 pickup anymore. You're not going to work on it yourself. The computer's going to try to tell you what's wrong. This team just hopes it's something they can actually repair.
You got those drivers that were involved in the crash, and then you got some drivers that came down pit road. So there's going to be a cycle of track position here for some of those that started in the rear as we do the choose.
Yeah, the choose is on the back straightaway before turn 6. The drivers all trying to position themselves where they think they maybe take the best advantage on these restarts. And on the front row there, we had the 88 with the 71 of McDowell, and McDowell's on the inside. As you'll see, the control car is always going to pick that inside line, as we mentioned at the top of the show, because he'll get the launch first and bend around the shortest distance in turn 12 to hopefully give him that car length or more that he needs to clear second place and sort of start defending down into turn 1. SVG did not do the best of jobs of trying to clear himself. We'll see how McDowell can do with this lead now.
It's an interesting combo. If you go early in the restart zone, I think you almost have to like gas up and then use the brake to make turn 12. The question is, if you go late enough, can you just roll the corner? I mean, I'm not exactly sure. It looked like SVG had hit the brakes a little bit to make 12. Let's see what the 71 does this time.
It might not be as easy as we saw yesterday in the Xfinity race with this next-gen car, independent rear suspension, more tire on the racetrack. Might be easier to anticipate if you're the car on the outside.
Down the hill to the restart zone. McDowell, Van Gisbergen up front. 71 is on it. We go green as we complete lap 6.
So McDowell clears. That's how you do it. Look how much further he's ahead now.
That's Priest in the 60 to the inside. Pretty neat and orderly.
Now he's going to be on the the opposite side, the outside of turn 2 here. He doesn't give up that spot to the 19 as they're going to race up towards turn 4. He finally falls in line behind Briscoe as we watch the rest of the field coming up Lakeshore. Way to the inside, it's Ty Gibbs.
Trying to muscle position. Priest going wide there. That's so dangerous, getting close to that wall.
20, quarter. Priest settled in behind the 19. Didn't want to battle on the outside into turn 4. When he backed off, that allowed that 54 to put the run together to be able to get to the inside and make that pass. Now Priest is on the inside of the 20 of C. Bell here.
He's going to try to hang there because then he'll be on the inside for 7. Let's see on board. Oh, look at this.
C. Bell's still there.
2 Joe Gibbs Racing Toyotas moving on the restart. Ty Gibbs, Christopher Bell.
How about Priest fighting back on the outside?
I feel like the run he had in Mexico City, and in particular the qualifying effort, did something for his confidence. Talking about Ryan Priest.
Goodness. That is such a treacherous corner. We saw A.J. Allmendinger just out of control. Little contact there to the back of the 2 car.
Allmendinger matched up in the round of 16 of the in-season challenge with Ty Gibbs, has worked his way to the top 10 in the 16. And now the battle for the lead. McDowell has got it, but Van Gisbergen hanging around.
Shane's going to follow him. Maybe go a little wide here and turn across the bottom of his car. Maybe accelerate to be able to get out of turn 3 or turn 2 down the straightaway. You'll keep seeing him do that as they get into corners. He'll enter the corner a little higher and try to turn under. Obviously not going to do it here. Into 4, draws up to the back bumper here into 5. Try to throttle up. Can't do it. It's 77 or the 71 of McDowell really getting out of the corners, getting the power down good. I think if you're trying to contend and keep SVG behind you, you absolutely have to focus on corner exits. Give up a little bit of entry, be smart, keep the car locked down, rolling center corner, and then power down and make sure you just get out of the corner a little bit better than he does to try to keep that gap and where you don't have to defend in the braking zone of the next corner. Really rough right there, getting rougher through turn 9 and 10.
Riding there with that Max onboard camera. Great look at the 2 out front.
And McDowell's come to play today. He's doing a good job putting a little bit distance on SVG every corner. We haven't seen really anyone be able to match the lap time or better the lap time of that 88.
As the field comes through, I'm going to point out 23 of Bubba Wallace up 19 positions. There it is, the McDonald's hood chasing Larson. That's really impressive. You talked about it, had that emotional week a couple weeks ago, poking over the car, wouldn't even fire for qualifying. And he comes here, he's great in practice. And he doesn't get the lap he wants in qualifying. Well, he's quickly recovering at a track where we think it's difficult to find spots. He has done the best of anyone in the field.
He's got the right number in Chicago.
Absolutely.
23. Repping the boss man. But he's got company right now. Cindric is there. What's happening with the 23 group, Alan?
I think his crew chief, Charles Denike, told me, look, we have to have the driver find us spots early on in this race. When you're starting so far and back, there's only so much track position you can strategize. So right now, through these cautions, crash avoidance, everyone pitting, Bubba's getting some of that track position. He's got to do the rest, according to his crew chief. Find some of those spots right now.
They had good speed in practice. So the car has the pace. Right now he's getting a lot of pressure, as you said, Steve, to Cindric in the 2. Cindric didn't qualify as well as he had expected. They didn't have the speed. I'm sure they made changes in this Penske car, and Cindric wants to prove it out.
So can I just, my question is, if you're Cindric, I know you're trying to pass, but can I also just distract you? Can I just get close enough to you that you're in your mirror a little bit more than you should? You already told me how difficult it was to stay out of the wall. Can I just kind of be like, you know, that just irritation back there that forces you into a mistake?
You can even give him a little contact in the corner, even though you know you're not hitting him hard enough to get him out of shape. Just the reminder that you're there and that you're going to be a nuisance, right, will really get in the back of a driver's mind and maybe have them push a little too hard, or even just say, hey, I'm going to give up the spot. Like, you're too much of a problem, and it's too early in the race.
In-season challenge, 23, Bubba Wallace facing off with a 48 of Alex Bowman, last year's winner here at Chicago. It's in your pylon. You see the matchup. Trying to advance to the round of 8, both coming from last week's opening round to today's round of 16.
I think the 2, Cindric gets in the wall a little bit there, coming out of turn 5. Little contact to the left side of that car, and now the 48's challenging down in turn 6.
Talk about pestering the car in front of you, forcing them into a mistake. We could be seeing that at the front of the field right now. McDowell leading. First time he's led laps in Chicago, but Van Gisbergen right there. Just over halfway home, stage 1. It's the NASCAR Cup Series racing in Chicago. Our coverage on TNT presented by Arby's. Front 2 have been very competitive. Michael McDowell leading in the 71. Shane Van Gisbergen second in the 88. Let's get an update from that 71 team. Here's Danielle.
Yeah, Adam, the 71 team telling Michael, keep your eyes look in your mirror how hard that must be with SVG stalking him under half a second now. Michael's lead just 3/10, Marty.
SVG said he's lacking just a little bit of lateral grip when compared to the 71. It feels like it's kind of rolling over on the front. Steve, we're coming to the end of stage number 1 right here. 8 to go in that stage. And I talked to Stephen Doran, SVG's crew chief, this morning, and he said, listen, we know our strengths, we know our weaknesses. This is a place, now that we're in the playoffs, that we know we can get a playoff point if SVG can get to the front and possibly win a stage. So if they get the lead, Steve, a lot of teams will pit with maybe 2 or 3 to go in stage 1. I think the 88, if they can get the lead, would not pit. They would take that playoff point instead. What do you think about that thought?
Well, so to Marty's point, there's really 2 schools of thought. If you pit twice, you'll pit like 3 to go in stage 1, 3 to go in stage 2, not at all in the final stage. The option to only pit once, there's about 5 laps to go in the second stage, which means you would finish this stage out, score those points. If you win, you get that playoff point, which is what they're debating for this 88, which, by the way, isn't leading. He's still behind the 71. I like stopping twice. I think you have fresher tires. The other negative about only stopping once is you're going to need 20 gallons of Sunoco fuel. You will sit in your pit box forever. I think you'll lose too much track time. But that decision is about lap 17, so 3 away. We'll see what they all do. I think not leading might change the plan for the 88, right? The 71, I think he's going to, he still needs that win. He needs that win to make the playoffs.
Oh, the 48's backwards in turn 12 right now. And wonder if it's over something that happened here. Here's a replay of the 2 and the 48 getting together. More contact right there.
They've been racing together for a while. That battle right behind Bubba Wallace.
Yeah, but then the 48, the 48 spun out again. And this is how that happened. So down into this corner, this is with the 2. That's the contact that we just saw earlier. So it's just on board the previous replay.
Look at these 2.
Bowman back to 26 now in the running order.
So here's a spin right here. Looked like maybe Austin Hill got in the back of him. I'm not sure. I don't want to blame Austin for that one, but
close. He was in proximity. Oh, here we go.
No, he just lost it.
Oh, see, your hesitation. You were absolutely right.
I'm glad you shot faked on that. You know what I mean?
It's a pump fake. Austin Hill, no, just kidding. On his own. Hey, Mama told us it was slick. You and I were just down there before the race.
Well, you wonder if he might have been just, trying to get back to the 2 after that contact. Felt like that Austin Cindric may have been too aggressive and roughed him up a little bit there, and he's just trying to get back to him. And it looks like, with that shot right there, McDowell still holding a comfortable lead, 1 second over Shane. And I was expecting Shane to maybe close the gap and put the pressure on late in the run, because the way Shane drives the car, I believe, takes better care of the rear tire. It allows him to have a little bit better long run speed than most people. But McDowell is no rollover, no easy out in the road course world.
So let's update Chris Buescher. 34th right now, 1 lap down. What's the latest there, Marty?
It's no better, Adam. They are 2 seconds, a good 2 seconds off the pace. And Scott Graves told Chris Buescher it is something internal in the engine and nothing that we can fix today. Man, they came in 52 above the cut line. Felt like they had a top 5 car in practice yesterday. But we're going to have to watch that cut line, Adam, all day long. Already, he is only plus 12 above the cut line. It will be a big points loss today here in Chicago for Chris Buescher.
I didn't know if they were 2 seconds off just because I know what caution's coming, but just listen to this 17 when it comes by. It does not sound good. I mean, it steps. I mean, it just misses, and it's not up the full song at all.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a traditional next-gen car.
Marty references the points, so he comes in, as Marty said, 52 to the good. But it's like a double issue for them now, because not only are you not running well, but you got someone from below the cut line and Michael McDowell that's leading this race. So, I mean, they've been saying forever in their camp, we got to win to ensure our spot.
The worry for me would be if it's a valve train issue, valve spring, something that could continue to do damage and eventually break the engine altogether, where you lose even a few more spots. So actually, where he is now, there's only one other car off the racetrack to be able to get out of the racetrack and go by him, but he doesn't, he wants to stay on the racetrack. If you can't fix this issue, maybe pick up a few more spots from some people that have more attrition today. You hope the thing can stay together.
Yeah, they don't normally fix themselves. No.
This guy carrying the torch for RFK right now, Ryan Preece, on board riding 7th behind Ty Gibbs. He came in 23 below the cut line.
Let me tell you, look at how he's able to get in the gas right there and gain. Even though he was offset on corner entry, not really taking the best line. And now the 54 is just going to let him have it. Here, just put the pressure on, and Ty Gibbs said enough was enough. But the 60 was offset, offline, into the braking zone, and still beat him on corner exit and throttle. So that's really nice for that 60 car on the long run here.
Driving away.
You love to hear that. It's the best thing you can tell your driver after a pass, especially for the lead. Hopefully Preece is battling up there up front for this win later in the race. So he's got some really good speed in this car, and we saw a little bit of that speed in Mexico City. And
you know, the big thing for them is finish. And when you consider where they've been this year, they've been doing some really positive things. 12 is in for a pit stop, Danielle.
Ryan Blaney says everything mechanical feels all right. Got minor damage in that last accident with Carson Hocevar. Steering and brakes all normal. Nice stop for the 12.
5 as well for Larson. This is a lap before I expected. Maybe people thought that a caution could close pit road. So as these guys are on pit road, we can take a look at the rest of the field. They're on the backside right now, but coming back around, the leaders will probably stay on the racetrack. They can run one more time. You see right here, a pretty clean pit stop on the 5, Marty.
Yeah, clean pit stop for the 5 car, who was started at the back today. They also have had a starter issue on the 5 car. Only presented a problem after that red flag, but so far so good for Kyle Larson, just trying to gain some spots from the back of the field.
And this is where pit road is going to get very, very, very busy. The goal, if you're going to stop twice, is to stop before the caution comes out. We know one is just a few laps away. Pit road closes when the leaders take the start-finish line with 2 to go. So as we kind of take a peek on pit road entry and turn 12, and the leaders will have a good idea of who does what. I think McDowell and the 88, it's a tough situation because they may stay out to basically try to win the stage. So I think they're going to come in sight right here underneath us. And then the real question, there you go, 54, 20, it is going to be busy. They're all going to come down pit road. It's going to be busy. We're going to have 8, 10, 12. The majority of the field, I believe, is going to pit, Alan.
Yeah, and the 54, Ty Gibbs is one of them. He started this race about 10th. They had a lot of expectations on him. Too tight everywhere, though. Lacking a lot of front turns. Same issues he was having yesterday in qualifying.
Alan Christopher Bell made his way up through the field, gaining some spots. He said his rear grip was infinitely better today than it was yesterday. Also a lot cooler today as well. So these guys here pitting early in stage 1, 3 to go here in the stage. The Gibbs teammates leaving pit road now.
When they came down, gave up that spot inside the top 10. There were 3 Joe Gibbs Racing Toyotas inside the top 10 for a good portion of this first stage. Chase Briscoe still there in the top 5.
Now, if you are the crew chief, you heard Marty talk about the decision. Do you pit or do you not pit? I will tell you, you just watched 25 cars come to pit road. If you stay out, you are going to start outside the top 20. That could be a death sentence in traffic. You see on the bottom left, Bell with a speeding penalty. That also is a huge challenge for the 20. What's the 71 do? Stays out. 88, I bet he pits. He absolutely pits. That's the move. Counter, advantage, SVG. He won't win the stage. He won't score the points, but he is going to be in a great situation track position-wise. I love the call by the 88. You see just how slow this pit road is.
So much of strategy is reactionary. I know you talk about having a plan, but sometimes getting off kilter with those around you is the way to go. 88 is in for their stop, Marty.
Adam, I think Steve laid it out perfectly earlier. Had they been in the lead, Stephen Doran would have said, hey, we'll take that playoff point, but they can never get to McDowell. In fact, SVG at one point said, he has so much more lateral grip than I do off the corner. I just cannot get to him. So 4 fresh Goodyear tires here for Shane Van Gisbergen, and we'll see how that pays off in stage 2.
Right there.
I go back to that speeding penalty for Bell. Those are the kinds of things you can't afford because it just traps you deeper than you would already be. Now we check in on the 71. Here's team radio, Michael McDowell.
Hey, right. Yes, sir. Save your tires, save your stuff. You didn't fall off significantly. I wanted to keep the track position. You trapped about 8 of them behind you. You have to do the same thing. I was You'll have to go way back behind now, though.
Sounds to me like they may not even pit at the end of the stage, jump onto a one-stop strategy. So you look right here, 71's going to probably win the stage in a couple more laps. The 8 of Busch, Reddick, Briscoe, Priest, Chastain, Nemechek. You know, all these guys are committed. You can't pit at this point. SVG rejoined in 10th. You want to talk about having a pretty big gap to the field? He pitted. He's already in 10th with fresh tires. That radio on the 71 is more like, I think at this point we aren't going to pit. We're going to only pit one time a little bit later in the next stage. We'll see what they do. It's a road trip. We left one city, we're driving in the other. Do we want to stop once? I like to stop twice. I like to stretch my legs, Adam. I like to stop a couple times.
I like when you can flip the stage and still get stage points.
Yeah,
that's an exclamation point.
I've never had that ability. Sounds amazing to be that fast.
Well, I think the idea was with this tire, they didn't run this tire here last year, and they wondered what the fall off might be like during the race. We saw a lot of fall off at COTA. We saw a lot of fall off at Mexico City as well, but maybe today they're seeing enough pace in these cars late in the run to be able to try to do this one-stop strategy. And even though they'll, maybe at a tire deficit late in the race, they think they got the speed to hold off all the cars that will have the tire advantage.
The length of this race really does change the conversation in the garage prior, because a lot of times it's just wide open on what you can see. Not as many options when it comes to racing here in Chicago, just because of the length of the race and the ability, as we talk about, to do it on one stop.
We talk strategy and all that. I wonder, though, if I'm overlooking what McDowell just did. SVG's dominated all weekend long. Everything has been SVG. And he just passed him on the start and just wouldn't let him by and just outperformed him for a whole stage. Like, this is the first little bit of weakness we have seen out of SVG.
Put the green and white checkered flag in the air. It's for Michael McDowell. 4th career stage win for him. And the 3rd time he's done it on a road course. Leads wire to wire in the first stint of the race after starting on the front row. Rest of the top 5, Busch, Reddick, Briscoe, and Priest getting really good points. Now what do? Stage is over. Do you pit, stay out, and continue to run it long? We'll find out when we return. One stage down in Chicago. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. This relief lap sponsored by National Debt Relief. When debt hits hard, National Debt Relief gets you back on track. Chris Buescher is back on the lead lap. After having those engine problems.
Where's your temperament, Dale? With your guy?
I'm a little nervous. Zane Smith, who is in the same bracket with him, is running in the top 10 and very well capable of having a good day. Listen to some 71 radio.
This mileage looks good. We're going to stay out here. We're going to go to our window. I'm going to stay in control of the race so we don't ever get in the back and get messed up. SPG is currently 11.
All right, that's a great look into the plan. So that tells me the 71's not going to pit here. I'm assuming the 8, the 45, most of the cars that chose not to pit are going to do the same thing. Get into our window. 54 laps to go in the race. We figure they can run about 36 laps. But remember, these yellow, they're almost 2.5 to 1. You're not using a lot of gas. Like, instead of a sprint, you're walking, right? You're not burning a whole lot. So these guys are saving gas right here, trying to run as far as they can. I think they're going to try to get to, like, lap probably, well, if you get to lap 40, you know you can make it. 75 lap race, that's 35 from the end. So I really think this is an interesting situation. The negative is the tires a little bit older. Marty, I don't think the tires hurt them as much, but when they do pit, they're going to need a lot of fuel, so their pit stop will be long. We'll just have to see how that plays out.
Tyler Reddick sitting in third. He'll be one of those that stays out, Steve. They will not come down pit road. So I think it's everything that you just talked about. They are a little concerned about tire wear. Billy Scott asked him, do you think the tires could make it another stint? He said the fronts are going away, but I think we would be fine. The other factor in all this, Steve, is that they are looking at the radar. There is rain not too terribly far away from Chicago, so you would rather not have made your pit stop at that point if there's a possibility of going to wets later in the race.
I think that what we saw at COTA was the tire held on really well and then just fell off a cliff. That would be my concern.
Yes.
We're seeing good lap times, but you know, if you're trying to get to 35, 40, what if the tire quits at 30? What if, you know, and then you're bleeding a ton of time? That would be the only worry.
I tell you, my concern, that's my first. My second and perhaps bigger concern is if we get a yellow a few laps before you have to pit and the field gets, you know, pushed back together, and then you pit under green and you sit there for 16 seconds filling up your gas tank while everybody else is on the racetrack, you're going to lose 10 spots just in the pit cycle. So, you know, I think it's a good idea for, say, Priest, Chastain, but McDowell had track position.
Yeah. Well, if I'm McDowell, I'm just looking at Shane Van Gisbergen.
You're racing one guy.
I'm racing one guy.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, all right, if he drives to me and then by me, and then I'm bleeding a lot of time on old tires at the end of this stint, look at that, a couple of guys faking.
A little head fake.
Yeah, a little fake. Here comes a few.
Zane Smith, top 10, same for Noah Gragson.
So they're the last two on tires. So now Dale's point about tires aging, who's going to hurt the worst is the first guy with new tires behind it. I think Zane did just what you said, Dale. He looked in the mirror, he saw all those fresh tires. He goes, man, this is not going to go good. I'm not sure I can hold them off. And you can get put in the wall pretty easy as these guys with new tires are coming by you, putting in really bad spots.
That's right.
I like, though, and you guys talk about the battle here, and the two guys we've been focused on, Michael McDowell, Shane Van Gisbergen. I like the buffer on the restart between McDowell and Van Gisbergen and the room that he has to play in here. The big question, as you said, Steve, when you make that pit stop, how long do you have to sit for fuel, Marty?
Yes, this is the same Christopher Bell who pitted early and flipped the stage in stage one, but coming back down here because remember they got that speeding penalty that you mentioned, Adam. They're going to do a couple things here, put some new Goodyear tires on. Also, see, they had some tape over some brake ducts at the front. They're going to remove that tape for Christopher Bell as well. But when you get a speeding penalty, sometimes as a crew chief, Steve, it forces your hand.
You better open those brake ducts up. Christopher Bell's going to be busy back here in traffic.
Lineup shuffled as we get ready for stage two. Michael McDowell leads. Racing on TNT is brought to you by Brestree. Visit us at brestree.com. Chewy, for life with pets. There's Chewy with everything. And by Progressive. Protect your auto, home, and business today at progressive.com. Some great sights around the city of Chicago as we get set for stage number 2. And now our NASCAR In-Season Challenge update presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Let's welcome in Larry McReynolds, Jeff Burton, and the Alt broadcast. What are you guys watching here as we get ready for stage 2?
Well, Adam, I'm watching Chase Elliott and John Hunter Nemechek. John Hunter Nemechek qualified 25th, Elliott out back. John Hunter Nemechek inside the top 10. Chase Elliott is not, but I think we got 2 different strategies. The 42 on a 1-stop, Chase Elliott and a 9 or a 2-stop strategy.
Ty Gibbs, A.J. Allmendinger, 2 guys that are very good road racers. I think guys you could consider a little outside, but favorites going into this race. They're on the same strategy. They've been running together all day long. They're both fierce competitors. That battle's just started. That's going to rage on.
I'm just glad that we had this update this week with these two, and it wasn't all doom and gloom about the bracket that was busted.
Yeah.
I mean, last week, it was major disappointment for the guys on the Altcast. This week, just giving a little thought on strategy, drivers to watch. I feel much better about their situation this week.
Just a couple matchups, nothing really to highlight.
Well, last week they were angry.
They were.
Because they knew they had lost.
Look at this. Look at this. With Brad officially out, this upset continues. Our man Ty Dillon has eliminated Brad Kay because he's retired from the event. On the other side, we're going to do the same thing. This is kind of like we're officially, this is like an election night. We have called it for the Reddick-Hocevar battle.
Not all precincts are reporting.
Yeah, no,
but we feel comfortable calling this one.
With 7 precincts reporting, we're giving it to Reddick over Hocevar.
Danielle, tell us about the race leader.
Michael McDowell, hard to believe, but true. The team telling Michael this is the first stage win in our organization's history. Travis Peterson, crew chief, also told his driver, we're going to build a lead. You have 8 cars between you and SVG. You're going to build a buffer and drive away.
Well, they've been checking boxes over there this year. Got their first pole, now a stage victory. Good stuff for Spire.
Dale pointed it out. They're racing 1 car. They know their pit stop will be longer. They need to get out in clean air and stretch that gap, because that 88 with SVG is going to show you that he not only is fast, but he knows how to make passes. 5th row inside that white car. This is on board. John Hunter Nemechek in front. It's going to be fun to watch, Dale.
Absolutely. We paid into this stage just a little bit. Going to get the green flag with 22 or 21 laps to go in the stage, which is a bit of an advantage or advantage to the 71 car McDowell.
Talking about McDowell, how hungry is Kyle Busch restarting on the front row, playing the same strategy, trying to end that long winless streak. Ready for stage 2 in the Grant Park 165 on TNT.
Clear, all clear.
McDowell does a great job of getting clear there by several car lengths over the 8 car of Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch all alone in second.
Chase Briscoe getting with it in the 19.
Yeah, 3 wide. Chase Briscoe into the 45. Contact there. Priest on the outside of this battle is going to lose a couple spots. Oh, Priest slides it back and gets it under control.
SVG loses a couple spots. Gibbs and Allmendinger did not go his way. He's on the wrong side of everything. Look at this battle right here, side by side.
Anytime it's this tight going to this corner, I get really anxious.
Priest able to take that spot away from the 19 of Briscoe. And he looks forward. Remember, Priest was rolling really good on them old tires right before the yellow came out for the end of the stage. That car continues going forward.
Ross Chastain, top 10, running 6th.
All right, we're going to see Shane really get aggressive on the braking zones and really just force drivers to give up the spots.
What happened there, though, is Gibbs is now in front of him on the fresh tires. He's leading what I'll call strategy A. Leading strategy A is Ty Gibbs.
The race within the race. And you've said it so many times, Steve, just be the best on your strategy. That's what you want to do.
And one of the strategies is going to be right, but you don't want to be, you got to at least be leading that. I don't think he's going to hold it for long, though. SVG's going to dive out right here.
Oh, we got a car around. Bubba Wallace is backwards here in turn 11.
He's going to have to just sit.
Yeah.
Can't back up.
He's got to wait for the field to go by.
There you go.
Man, that's tough. He had made up a ton of ground from the back of the field. Worked his way about halfway through the field, spun out in 16th position.
I mean, it can just change so quickly. And then once it goes away, right there, you just got to sit and wait till you can right the ship and move on.
SVG has gotten around the 54 Gibbs.
Yeah, but Allmendinger's got ahead of him somehow in that mix as well.
Now he's on the inside of the 33 of Austin Hill down here into turn 4. Going to take that spot away easily.
Austin Hill among the drivers yet to make a pit stop. Full-time in the Xfinity Series, having a good day today inside the top 10.
So fun to watch some of these guys that are just so good. Let's see what happens to the 23. Oh boy, who's that?
Larson to the inside.
And he was kind of to his door. I don't know if Bubba thought he would lift or didn't know he was there.
With the bumper cars behind him.
Yeah, there's going to be a disagreement between Bubba and Larson on what exactly happened there. They're both going to agree there was contact, but I don't think the blame is going to be as clear.
Think about in-season challenge implications. Bubba drops to the back. Bowman, who he's competing against today, is 21st.
Yeah, that flipped right away in just one little lap of that incident. Back up toward the front in the top 10, 8th place right now. 88. It's hounding A.J. Allmendinger right here in the 16 car for 7th. Right ahead of them, Ross Chastain in the 1.
I don't remember the last time we did a race on a road course when we made it to stage 2 and said A.J. Allmendinger was quietly performing, but he's under attack now.
He gets past pretty easily right there. 88 set that up perfectly, just really beat him through turn 1 and 2. AJ has to give up the spot as he dove to the inside of turn 2.
How about SVG gave him the hand out the window, thank you, under braking. I mean, like, he's very comfortable in this situation.
I mean, what kind of
look at the ground he gains on the 1 car into 4, into 5. But he's got that tire advantage.
Now what I'm really looking at is this gap, Dale. This gap right here. 4 seconds back to the leader.
I mean, he's a car length behind the 1 and outbreaks him into 6, no problem. And you can't contend with that. Even on the same tire, you can't beat this guy in the braking zone. 45 of Reddick gets around the 8 of Kyle Busch for 2nd.
I figure we are a solid 12 laps from the pit window opening. So this means 12 laps for SVG to keep using these brand new Goodyears to try to make some time. Is this a passing zone?
That's tight right there. Yeah,
not for most.
Same area where Bubba Wallace got turned around a couple laps ago. SVG thinks better of it. He's going to sit in line right here. Doesn't press the braking zone there for the 19 of Briscoe, but here he is under attack. Down into turn 1. Can he outbrake him into 1, or does he try to set this pass up for turn 2? He's going to dive to the inside right here. Briscoe knows there's no use in battling that. He's going to let him go, and now the 88 is headed off to try to run down Priest for 4th.
Dale, how much of this is new tires? How much is SVG? How much is Briscoe just knowing it's SVG concedes versus challenging the position?
It's SVG, the fastest guy on the racetrack with better tires. So
tough combo.
Yeah, you really can't do much about that. Your spotter's telling you to, hey, you got new tires behind you.
Well, because if you battle and you lose time and you're the 19, you just hurt yourself. Like he's coming through.
That's all you're trying to do in that situation is let him get through really quickly so you can get back on the racing line and don't cost yourself another spot trying to race him side by side through the corner. Let him go ahead and clear you in the braking zone so you can then accelerate out of that corner and not slow yourself down.
Right-hander, Michigan Avenue.
Change right on the back bumper of Priest already in half a lap.
And Shane owns our Xfinity fastest lap of the race. Give him some tires, put him in traffic, and say go to work, and he produces.
Just a 60 up there, clear behind him.
60
on your left.
room there, and now he's going to take this spot in turn 12.
Allmendinger, though, staying within touch. I only say that because, you know, he's on the same plan. Like, just stay close enough to battle this out later. I know he's great, but I'm not giving away trophies yet. There's a lot of ways that, trust me, I have a whole notebook how to lose them, Adam. A whole thick notebook.
And we piled up 6 cars at lap 3. So, I mean, we got a long way to go at this place, no doubt about it. Saw Allmendinger flashing by there. Michael McDowell in the race lead. He's led them all today. Took the green to white checkered flag in stage 1. Reddick, Busch, SVG, Priest the top 5.
Back at Chicago, Tyler Reddick gets to pit road just as the caution comes out for Josh Berry, who spun on the racetrack. This is going to be a massive advantage for Tyler Reddick. You also see Chase Briscoe leaving pit road as well. The same exact strategy James Small used at Pocono to get Briscoe that win. They pitted thinking a caution might come out because the 21 was spun on the racetrack, Adam, and guess what? It did come out, and now they could be done pitting for the rest of the day.
There were multiple cars that were able to take advantage of this right here. The 22 of Josh Berry spun out into the fence. Let's take a look at the crash and see exactly how this happened. Down into turn 7, the 43 of Eric Jones into the right rear quarter panel, spinning Josh around, and Josh makes contact with the outside wall, then nose first into the inside wall. He's unable to get the car removed from the racetrack, but he sits down in this corner for what seemed like an entire lap, Steve, which allowed a lot of teams, Bubba Wallace and others, to get to pit road before the caution comes out. A massive advantage for those cars to be able to do that while this car sat on the racetrack for at least a full minute and a half.
All I can think about is that 45 laps is just too far for the field to try to go, because to your point, NASCAR, and I don't love that it took this long for the yellow to come out. I thought there was more opportunity to throw this yellow. What I will agree with is they let the whole field come by pit road entry. They didn't split it. Everyone had the chance to come to pit road if you thought that was the right strategy. So few of the cars did. That tells me we're too far out, but I agree with you, Dale. Long time for the yellow to come out. we'll see if this fuel mileage gamble pays off for the 45 and the 19.
Third caution of the day for Josh Berry. We're back in a moment. It's NASCAR on TNT. Michael McDowell leading under caution at Chicago. Here's 71 Team Radio.
I figured we should have pitted there, right?
We're not close enough to the window to make it. Obviously, these guys are probably going to try. I'd been thinking about it, but we needed a few more laps.
So let's see if they choose to jump strategy. They do. So that was the radio before this pit road opened. What he was talking about are the guys that came before the caution. 71 chooses to pit now. Let's see, Danielle.
Steve, they just came on the radio. Michael McDowell just said the throttle is stuck. The throttle is stuck. They're going to take a look at it. Stuck at 75%.
Phil Pod, go get in that fucking
Something looked weird. I thought he was cleaning up his rear tires, but coming up over the hill, he does a burnout, which is not crazy. But then he's like up next to the pace car. I'm like, man, it just kind of failed the eye test. Take a look at this, Dale. See what you think. I mean, he shouldn't. I mean, look at the tires are smoking. Yeah. He's over there to the left.
Yeah, that is pretty weird.
So the throttle, he's saying, is getting stuck. Watch this.
Oh, he's locked the fronts up right there trying to stop the car from... Yeah, that was wild.
So now what I was going to say is I actually loved the 71 jumping on this strategy because I thought their whole one-stop thing just went away with some yellows. These things happen. But now I think it's mechanical.
Well, it looks like they believe that they have fixed whatever the issue was, but I'll promise
there now.
Well, but listen, man, like there are 90-degree corners everywhere we go with very little runoff. As a race car driver, how do you feel about this?
That's my point, is that as a driver, even though maybe they've got this issue fixed, will it come back? where will it come back? Could it come back? I'll be honest. I mean, I'm terrified as a driver, right? To be thinking that I could, have this problem reoccur at full speed.
I'm disappointed for Spire as an organization because you put 2 cars in the top 5, you lead all these laps, you win a stage for the first time, Hocevar involved in the crash, and now all the things that are going on with McDowell.
I know you say that, but if this issue's fixed, I don't hate where they are, full of fuel right here with 43 to go. Danielle, what's the update on the 71?
Talking about fuel, he said, we are full, be on max save. Michael McDowell just came on the radio and said, I hope I don't blow up here. And they said, we think we have your throttle issue fixed. You should be good.
So, look, it's not ideal, but when you have an issue, you got to go to plan B. Go to plan, your flight's canceled. What do? You got to find another way. So that's what they've done right here. They've done a really nice job of working on this mechanical issue. I'm with you, Dale. I feel I have empathy for Michael, who's going to be asked to do here at a very dangerous race course. But there are some options with 43 to go where the fuel and the cautions, potentially some rain. You don't want to turn away at this point. There's a lot going on. It's going to get chaotic.
Listen in.
Gotta come to you. The throttle's stuck.
So it shut off at coasting, so he probably shut the engine off because it was over revving.
312, 4160. Right here, guys. I'm gonna try to start it, but we might need to pop the hood here.
Guys, 4 tire and fuel. You let me know what you got, and Griff, be ready to go over and look under the hood, guys.
Talk about them saving fuel. You got these caution laps. We're going to get the stage break here in 13 laps. You get another caution there. You can save some more fuel just looking ahead at their opportunities in that regard. Go inside the race with Max, home of the NASCAR Driver Cam, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. And Straight Talk Wireless. Access every in-car camera with real-time driver data, multi-view options, and full-time team audio. Watch NASCAR Driver Cam all season long, only on Max. I like this restart out front. I mean, 2 studs on the road, Shane Van Gisbergen, AJ Allmendinger.
Get some word from the 71 that they may still have a throttle issue. We'll stay on top of that if they need to come back to pit road. Green flag is out. Shane Van Gisbergen clear up into the lead. Side by side with Priest and Busch back there in second. Priest is going to take it. Busch now side by side with the one at Chastain.
Priest having a great day, but one of those drivers that is yet to make a pit stop, so he'll have a long fuel situation when they do make their pit stop.
Yeah, no choice for the 71. They're going to have to look at that mechanical issue. The 54 dives the inside of the 8, though. Ty Gibbs, something. I just had him circled. This was going to be the week. He's over 100 starts. Such a good road course racer. We've seen some unravel. Maybe today's the day. Up inside the top 5, making noise for the driver of the 54.
He was the one driver in Mexico City that you really felt like maybe had something for Shane Van Gisbergen. An untimely caution took them out of the game, but he had done so many positive things. Ryan Blaney on the move. There goes Kyle Busch. Turn 7.
The 2's getting contact right there as well. These cars got to be careful here.
No damage so far.
Kyle's going to get out of the way. Try to get this car turned around as quick as he possibly can.
Back up if we need you. Got room.
It's the right-hander, Michigan Avenue.
Stalled the car, hopefully gets it refired. Drive away, that's frustrating. Running in 6th place, worked all day long, staying up there in the top 10. On a pretty solid strategy with good speed.
You mentioned about the tires losing grip, Dale. He's on those old tires. I just wonder if the rear tires finally have given up so much under braking.
As a downhill braking zone is always the most difficult, easiest to slide the rear tires.
Jumping out of line.
Ty Dillon.
Yeah, Ty Dillon.
By the way, he has advanced. Brad Keselowski out of the race. Just want to confirm 100% Brad done for the day. Talked about that earlier. Ty Dillon going to move on to the round of 8. How about that? Upsets Denny Hamlin and now gets past champion Brad Keselowski in the in-season challenge. Ty Dillon doing some good things here in the middle portion of the year.
Speaking about Hamlin, we haven't mentioned his name much today. That's him right there in the blue car. Half a lap of practice with a broken engine. Went to the back. No practice for the 11 of Hamlin. Alan, what is he saying over the course of the day?
Oh, well, Steve, you talked about leading your strategy, right? If you look at it, he just pitted not long ago, and he is leading that strategy of those who pitted on. You can make it with 2 more cautions on fuel. They took a while to fill that thing up. Denny was hesitant at first, but they believe they can make it with 2 more cautions and enough fuel.
Oh, great update, Alan. So those guys are going to try to stretch it. Under yellow, you save some gas. The leaders all still need to pit.
Somewhat of a similar strategy for Bubba Wallace, who came at lap 29. He's 21st in the running order, right behind Denny Hamlin. I mean, so many problems this weekend for that 23 team, but they're staying in the game. I say it so many times, but when you go road racing, it's like you're never out of it. If you can just stay in it and keep manufacturing the next strategy, letting other people get into trouble, and all of a sudden it kind of comes back to you.
Playing a big game of leapfrog, you just don't know when the time's going to expire. I know that it's funny because of lap count, but that's not how it works. Green and yellow just changes how much fuel you have. We have potential weather in the air. There's so many moving parts right here that actually, to be honest, the most nerve-wracking thing is to be the crew chief of the 88 or the 16. When you have one of the fastest cars, all you do is sit there nervously thinking you're going to mess it up, right? What am I going to do to take this away from my driver? If you're back in Denny Hamlin territory, so we started last anyway. I could be a little aggressive. What are you hearing on the 16, Marty?
A.J. Allmendinger's team has driven all the way up to second place. You know, he told me before the race, he said we usually get better as the race goes along here. They clearly have shown that today. And I think with SVG out front, fans at home may go, hey, this race might be over. Not so fast. Dinger has been the fastest car for much of this longer run before the caution and even after the caution. SVG said a moment ago that his car fired off not so well, got better the longer they run. But AJ talking about how good they can charge corner entry, needs a little help center exit off on the corners, but very impressive.
I'm not saying that, you know, SVG probably has a little bit in his pocket. I don't think that he runs as hard as he possibly can until it really matters. So I'm not saying, as you see the 71 car pushing through the pit stall, looks like they're not able to fix what's going on with that car. Let's listen in.
All right, we're going to have to drive to DVP here to go work on our throttle pedal cable. We're going to have to do it over there. That's where the part is, and it's going to take forever to get this fixed through the car.
Throttle pedal cable, so it's cable driven. Think about like your lever brakes on a bicycle, pulls the cable. It's the same idea. You step in the throttle pedal, it pulls the cable that operates the throttle body.
Danielle?
They're headed to DVP now to work on it. Said it might take forever to fix, but it's worth a shot. That throttle pedal cable is absolutely shredded. Heartbreak for Michael McDowell after winning that first stage and contending with SVG, guys.
It's never the $10,000 parts. You know, we talk a lot about the big failures and the mechanicals. You know, I don't know the exact cost, but it's a metal cable. It's an inexpensive piece in a next-gen car. To have that ruin the day for the 71 is going to be heartbreaking.
9 laps to go, stage 2. Shane Van Gisbergen in charge of the field here at Chicago. 7 laps to go, stage 2. We're racing on the streets of Chicago. Our coverage on TNT, presented by Arby's. There's the race leader, Shane Van Gisbergen, passing pit road. 6 remaining in the stage. You saw while we were away in our side-by-side that Ryan Preece had made his scheduled green flag stop.
So that's what the 88 has to do. He wants to run comfortably into his pit window. You said, why don't you just wait? Well, because everybody who has pitted will cycle in front of you with a caution. So if I'm a crew chief, I have this number, maybe 8 drivers or 10 drivers. I can't let more than that pit, because then if a caution comes out, I have to restart behind him. There's not enough time to pass. I thought the 88 might come that time. 36 to go. Now, look, these guys are so fast, they might be burning a lot more fuel than everyone else, but it's going to be very interesting to see when they decide to come.
Ross Chastain has been on the pit lane as well.
78 here in trouble.
Catherine Legg did such a great job yesterday in qualifying to get into the field.
That's turn 1, right?
That is a scary spot.
Where she's sitting is kind of pit road exit, which that may generate NASCAR to have to do something quicker. Let's see. She gets away. She gets away.
She's got in there a little bit too far. Looks like late in the run. Brakes are fading a little bit.
Oh, man.
She got in the wall pretty hard.
Hey, that car is tough because she had the issue in practice yesterday. Yeah. We didn't know what that was going to mean for qualifying. She's able to get it into the field. Man, a huge hit there.
And I know we covered it yesterday, but just one more time, the job that she did in qualifying with Corey Hahn having his issues. She said it was more stressful than qualifying for the Indy 500.
How big is that statement?
Yeah, tip of the hat to Catherine making this street race.
But that speaks to, you're talking about those cautions that could fall in. That's such a, well, why would there be a yellow? Nobody's going to crash or anything like that. And we're late in the run. Brakes are fading. Tires are bad. Mistakes happen.
I'm shocked more aren't pitting, to be honest. I thought we would have seen a bigger wave of cars come to pit road. This tells me that maybe they think tires are more important than we think.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't want to finish the race on 35-lap tires if you can burn 5 laps here. And SVG is smooth, isn't he?
The further out in the lead that he gets, the less pressure from behind, faster he can run.
Kyle Busch had made a pit stop, his scheduled green flag stop, and went through too many pit boxes. So insult to injury after the spin. You make the pit stop, you get a penalty. Tough second part of the race for Kyle Busch.
You're allowed 3. You're allowed to drive through 3. What happened is with the driver on the wrong side on backwards, they lose kind of track of that right front, and it's pretty easy to kind of drive through too many. Let's see, 43 of Jones.
Inside the top 10.
Oh, he hit that inside wall in the apex. Then the outside wall with the left side of the car. So pretty good 1-2 with that car.
Yeah, that was the Advent Health onboard camera. And we talk about Eric Jones top 10, even though he hit the wall facing off with Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
And SVG is like, I am not worried. I'm going to drive all the way to 3 to go to this stage. I don't think he'll stay out to win the stage. That would be an aggressive call. That would scare me. I would pit before the stage, but we'll have to just wait and see what they do. Marty, Kyle Larson.
Yeah, quiet but impressive day for Kyle Larson, who started 30th at the back of the field, drove his way up to the 6th position. They've had a lot of speed in this 5 car, so Cliff Daniels making the call to come with 4 to go here in stage 2. He asked, Cliff Daniels did, Steve, about Kyle Larson, hey, do you think you could do 1 set of tires if we split the race in half? You drove the entire second half on 1 set. To your point, Steve, he said, I think that's way too long on tires, so maybe that's why a lot of these teams run a little bit longer than we maybe thought.
And Marty, I love that. I love strategy. I love fuel. That's kind of my wheelhouse, but I would prefer Goodyear tires that lose grip. And you're like, man, this isn't all about fuel. You got to have fresh tires on this thing or you just can't hold people up. I think that makes for absolute amazing racing.
All 4 Hendrick cars started in the back today prior to this cycle of green flag pit stops. 2 of them in the top 10, 1 of them Larson, who just pitted there.
You see the 8 of Kyle Busch right here in front of Shane Van Gisbergen, trying to stay on the lead lap with that number 8 car. Been told that he might be getting black flags, so here comes the pit road to obey that order.
Pit stop for Shane Van Gisbergen. Scheduled service as we head toward the end of stage 2, Marty.
Coming down with 3 to go. He said the car did not take off quite like he would like it to, but got better and better and better the longer they ran. He did say, Adam, he had a little rear brake lockup towards the end of that run, so they kind of adjusted some brake bites, but SVG on cruise control, pits from the lead before the end of stage 2, Alan.
2 cars in my section. 22 of Joey Logano was in. He was saying that the rear tires, they're not sticking around like they used to, that they did earlier in the race, so they're going to make an adjustment for him. Just ahead of him was the 54 of Ty Gibbs. He needs more rear grip as the run goes on. You can see him exiting pit road right there, trying to chase SVG.
And with all these cars on pit road, the big question now, you see the map in the upper left, the 16 of A.J. Allmendinger, a stage win right in front of him if he stays on the racetrack. But all of these cars would then cycle in front of him. Will the 16 pit? I think he needs to. I think he's good enough to win the race if he can beat SVG. That's a big if, but I like the 16 car. The big question now is, does he come to pit road?
But I mean, that's their path, you feel like, to the playoffs.
Yeah,
so
that's
you know what I'm saying? So, like, I look at Blaney, who's second, similar situation. Like, if you're him, you got to win, maybe you run along. There you go.
All right, so now no mistakes. We saw speeding out of the 20, too many pit boxes for the 8. The 8's going to turn right. We talked about how difficult this is. That looks nice. Now you're only allowed 3. The driver's on the wrong side. Everything's just clunky. So he'll come all the way down in front of Marty. Let's see how well they do.
Yeah, Steve, I think Adam nailed it. This is really the only path forward into the playoffs for Trent Owens and A.J. Allmendinger. They know they have to put themselves in a position to win a race. They debated on getting those stage points and a potential playoff point, but they said, no, we got to keep up with SVG. And in terms of on the track, what's going on with the 16, he said it just needs a little bit more help. Center exit, lateral grip on the corner exit for the 16. That's the biggest issue for A.J. Allmendinger, trying to keep up with the 88 of Shane Van Gisbergen.
Oh, slow pit stop on the right. The 88 goes by. We thought there would be a very close blend, but the slow pit stop on the 16 will easily cycle the 88 in front. Now remember, the yellow's going to come out in a couple, so it's just positions on the racetrack. You'll be able to close back up, but it was going to be pretty close if it would have been a better pit stop.
He is able to jump out in front of Ty Gibbs, so didn't lose that spot in the exchange.
Still on the racetrack is the 12 of Blaney and Briscoe, Reddick, Bowman. But the action back in the pack, here's the 47 of Stenhouse. Looked like he ended up in the tires. Yep. Down in turn 1. Again, late in the run, old tires. Brakes not working like they used to. You got to adjust your braking points. You got to adjust how hard you're going to push this car in lateral load and deep into the corner. In-season challenge battle, as we talked about with Eric Jones, and Stenhouse was 10th when it got away from him in turn 1. Here's Blaney, 1 lap to go in the stage. Already a win this year coming at Nashville.
And how about Blaney, this 12 car? Talk about success. Well, of course, everybody wants to win the race. But what else is a successful day? I think a stage win for Ryan Blaney and that playoff point. I know they're going to leave here talking about what they wanted to do differently, but that is a big bucket to fill up for this 12 car to score these points and that all-important playoff point, which will help him in those final 10 races.
I mean, just look at those top 5 drivers. You know, Briscoe has a win. He can collect some stage points here. But Reddick doesn't have a win, but well above the cut line. Bowman comes in above the cut line. Bubba Wallace above the cut line. Those are all drivers by collecting some stage points here that help create some insurance. And oh, by the way, they all know the man in charge of the field now, or the guy that will be, you know, Shane Van Gisbergen, he's got to win. So it's kind of like, man, we don't need another new winner. It's all playing for him. The points really matter right now.
This field, when we finish this stage and cycle it all through, it's going to be all jumbled up, and we'll just reset it then. There's so many moving parts. Reddick's probably back here part throttling this thing. I don't think he can make it all the way from lap 30. This seems to be a long ways. Great Toyota onboard looks.
That Congress Plaza, it's such a fun part of the racetrack.
I mean, look at that with the skyscrapers. It doesn't matter how many times we come, it just doesn't. It looks like a video game. You can't believe it's real life.
Wrapping stage number 2 at Chicago. Green and white checkered flag for Ryan Blaney. 10 points on the stage side, but more importantly for a driver that's been to victory lane, another one of those playoff points that he'll carry with him into the fall when he's running for a second championship. Briscoe gets points there. The same for Reddick, Bowman, and Wallace. Strategies all over the board, but it's Blaney who delivers in stage 2, picking up his 4th stage victory of the year. It's been a great weekend here in Chicago. More road racing next weekend in Sonoma. Xfinity practice and qualifying Friday afternoon, 4 Eastern on the CW app. Cup practice qualifying Saturday, 1:30 Eastern. We're on True TV. Xfinity cars racing with coverage beginning on CW, 4 o'clock on Saturday. And then it's the Toyota Save Mart 350 for Cup teams Sunday afternoon in Wine Country. NASCAR Nation on the air, 3 o'clock Eastern time. Stage 2 is done in Chicago. Pit stops when we return. NASCAR Cup Series racing on TNT is brought to you by Brestree. Visit us at brestree.com. Toyota, let's go places. And by Burger King. At BK, have it your way. You rule.
Pit road was closed last time by. Eric Jones came down. He had hit the wall, so he had a little bit of repair. Blaney on pit road. Let's see who else comes. Danielle, Ryan Blaney, stage winner.
Yeah, he changed his plan when they realized they were in position to win that second stage, Steve. Blaney says, I need more rear grip. You see the 12 pit crew going to work, 4 tires and 2 cans of fuel. Marty?
After contact with the wall yesterday in practice, it's been a rough go of it for Chase Elliott and Alan Gustafson today. They have worked their way from the back, and they got some stage points here in stage 2, got 3 stage points out of that, but there is damage to the front end of the 9 car, actually fairly decent damage, so they're going to take as much time as they can here to repair that damage on the front end of the 9 car. But again, Alan Gustafson making that call to leave them out, get as many stage points as they can, and try and salvage something from the day.
Could there be an upset coming in the bracket? Last week's winner, Chase Elliott, and the man that Steve and I had winning it all in a tough situation here as far as track position goes, final stage, facing off with John Hunter Nemechek in the round of 16.
Under the hood here, trying to repair some of that damage in the front. I think that happened real early in the race. A big checkup in turn 11.
Using a little nap trying to put it all back together here.
Not the brand placement they were looking for in this situation.
Yeah.
Let's go to the NASCAR Nation crew. Here's Shannon.
Hey, thanks so much, Adam. You really got to hate it for Michael McDowell. Led 31 laps out front for that many laps. Of course, they are now working on that race car 15 laps down, but this is really going to open things up for some of the other guys, right? Shane Van Gisbergen, we know that when this race starts in stage 3, he's going to have to show us what he's really got, because he's going to have some traffic to deal with.
Yeah, and it's been a pretty calm race. I think so far we always had that huge wreck with Hocevar early on. But I would tell you that from this point on, everyone's it's gonna be all take and no give. I think we're also gonna see what Shane actually has. McDowell was super fast. I think SVG was pretty content riding there for a little bit, but we're gonna find out right now what the 88 has.
I think what's really stuck out to me, one, that tires matter. We really haven't
way more than we thought.
Way more than we probably thought. We haven't really had a dry race here to know that was a factor, and I think that's changed some of the strategy. I think that will play out here as we go along. I think Eric Jones got incredibly lucky. I'm not sure how he's still running around after hitting the wall down there in 10 on the right side and the left side, and still got away with it. That was impressive. And I got to give a shout out. Mamba calls him Tyrone Dillon, not just Ty. Moving on here in the bracket challenge, who saw that one coming? Unbelievable run by him. That's amazing.
The other thing that we don't know yet is that rain is on the way, and if that gets here before the end, that's going to change the whole complexion of this race.
I know you picked AJ Allmendinger to win this race. I mean, who are the other guys? And obviously we have to wait to see who's in the top 5, who's in the top 10, who can even try to make a move in the closing laps of this race.
He's going to say AJ because that's who
he's just going to say.
I like AJ's chances, guys.
Yeah, you like AJ? Oh, anyone else there, Jamie Mack? Let's put you on the spot a little bit.
No, I'm going to stick with who I picked at the beginning.
You're going to pick anyone can contend with Shane Van Gisbergen then? Besides Shane Van Gisbergen?
It'd be interesting to see if Reddick can make it on fuel. It's going to have a lot of caution laps here, but Reddick's really good at road racing, and we saw how well he did here last year.
All right, Adam, take it away.
All right, ready for the restart final stage, Shannon. Chase Briscoe up front, Tyler Reddick. How about the 19 playing the strategy game? It's some question marks on fuel and all that for some of these guys, but a different cast of characters out front as we begin this final stage.
Bubba Wallace in the third around the 48 of Alex Bowman. Alex now on the inside here with Denny Hamlin to his outside. A little smoke off the 42 car. Nemechek. Coming down Lakeshore Drive, the 19, the 45. A lot of Toyotas up front here. But now business is going to pick up. A lot of guys are going to start pushing harder into these corners, going to start really taking advantage of each other. More contact, more tempers, more anger, more mistakes in this final stage. The intensity ramping up. Firing down Columbus Drive into turn 6. Cody Ware trying to outbrake into the outside of turn 6 here.
You talk about the aggression and it really can be the balance of patience and aggression if you're Shane Van Gisbergen, because your track position compromised here. You want to take care of this car driving back to the front. Right now he's 6th.
Now, if he had anything extra, we're going to see it. Shane's going to go around this racetrack. We're going to ride on board. Trying to chase down Denny Hamlin out there in front of him for 4th. Denny to the inside of Bubba Wallace. He's going to put him on the outside of the next corner, so he thinks better and jumps to the inside here, trying in the braking zone. He's really just slowing both of them down. You see how that allows the 88 to get there, so Bubba has to run defensively. Denny's really got Bubba slowing both of those guys down. And here comes Shane. Oh, man. They're all pushing so hard into that braking zone right there.
Boy, look, contact there looked like as Hamlin cuts down in front of Bubba Wallace.
Yeah, pretty impressive by Denny Hamlin right there. There's the radar. We got a little weather moving in.
I just wonder if that changes that intensity with 25 to go, and does it change the fuel strategy? Does people think we're going to have to put reins on?
23, all clear.
23 clear. 88 makes short work of Bubba Wallace.
Just inside of 4 seconds behind the race leader is Shane Van Gisbergen.
Ty Gibbs going to get through as well right here.
I like that. I like Ty staying close, staying within touch of SVG.
I remind you again what he did in Mexico City. He was the one that was right there for a good portion of that race.
And Bubba Wallace is just under attack right here. And their plan was to try to stay out and run the rest of this race 25 more laps. He's got to be miserable thinking about how much further he has to go on a car that's not working, under pressure from everybody behind him.
Tyler Reddick running 2nd right now, Marty.
With SVG looming, this top 3, Adam has to save fuel. But what does Billy Scott want Tyler Reddick to do? Listen in.
Let me know when you want me to start saving. Yeah, 10 more. Let's push for a few more, see if we can do anything with him or get away from the 88, and then we'll work on saving.
Do anything with him means Chase Briscoe, his corporate teammate, right in front of him. If you can get around him, go ahead and do it. But Steve, he told him a second ago, if you cannot, let's start saving fuel. Billy told me a moment ago, Steve, they are 3 laps short. There's no doubt they're going to need a caution if they're going to make it to the end of the race.
I mean, I don't think saving under green is the plan. I think you then you have no track position and no fuel. I think you just run really hard and hope you get the yellows, and if you don't, you know, how about this? If you don't have enough yellows, the field's going to be so stretched out, you probably can put gas in the car and still rejoin like 10th or 11th. You know, I know it sounds crazy, Alan or Adam, but I think that's the better plan than saving here and just letting the new tires run you down.
Well, you said Alan, and it's because Alan's got a...
I knew Alan had something. Alan, I was coming to you anyway. I was just talking to Adam.
Man, I'm here for you guys. Looking at 19 and Chase Briscoe. He's got all the clean air you want as the leader, but his crew chief, James Small, putting on something more of a poker face. Wouldn't tell me exactly what he's thinking, but they're going to run this out, but says a caution would really help us. So that fuel number, that fuel load, that's going to be really close for the 19 of Chase Briscoe.
For me, this is deja vu of Pocono.
Yeah.
Because it's like there's no way Chase can make it. Well, maybe he can make it. And as the laps wound down, he just kept doing what he had to do. Long way to go here. Best thing about Briscoe being in contention and it being a strategy race is we get team radio and we get James Small, who always entertains.
Big damage right here with a 10 on the pit road, a flat right front tire. Looks like he's gotten into the wall with that car as well.
4 tires, let's go.
The 20 and the 2 had a little contact coming through turns 12 here. Looked like the 2 might have got into the back of the 20, and he's offline, sliding up the racetrack. And look, trying to get back down into the racing line there. All kinds of debris on the tires now. The 20 is trying to clean them tires up.
Riding on board with Reddick. We do now our progressive race recap. 24 laps, going to be 23 laps to go in this race. Michael McDowell Started on the front row, grabbed the lead early, led every lap, won stage 1. Stage 2, Ryan Blaney, a little strategy, gets his 4th stage win of the year.
Shane Van Gisbergen in 3rd, trying to run these two down, only a 10th quicker that lap.
Top 5 with 23 to go. Briscoe, Reddick, Van Gisbergen, Hamlin, and Gibbs. You're watching NASCAR on TNT from Chicago. .21 laps to go in Chicago for the NASCAR Cup Series. Chase Briscoe leading this thing, and now we do our ones to watch, presented by Credit One Bank. Dale, you're up first.
SVG trying to become only the 2nd driver in history to sweep both the Xfinity and the Cup race from the pole. Kyle Busch did that in Indy in 2016. He's closing in on the front 2.
I like the car right behind SVG. The 22-year-old from Charlotte, North Carolina, making his 106th start. Is today the day for Ty Gibbs? So much pace at the road courses. He ran 3rd here a year ago. He has won road course races in the Xfinity level. He's currently 4th. He's on the same tires. He was the heads-up matchup for SVG in Mexico. Will he have a chance to show it here today?
You take the guy behind SVG. I'm going the driver right in front of him. That would be Tyler Reddick, 2nd in this race a year ago. 8 career wins, 3 of those coming on the road. Reddick has just been so good at this style of racing. Winless this year. And here's the big exclamation point on it for me. Got to Jordan Brand on the car this weekend. This is Michael Jordan's town. I'm going with Tyler Reddick.
Jordan Brand on the car. I think he's got Jordan Brands on the feet. That's a busy feet over there. You see just how smooth these guys are with that throttle pedal and the brake pedal.
little pump of the brake pedal just to build the fluid up and get the pedal solid for the braking zone.
Here's Alan Cavana.
And the 48 of Alex Bowman is in. There was talk about doing it at the stage break, but they didn't want to because they didn't want to be so far back amongst everybody. They'd rather do it now, Alex Bowman said, putting on the 4 tires, mostly struggling in the braking zones. But one issue he's having, his cool suit, not doing very well. They're having to shut off and get some power to it, even shut off the cool suit to help the brake fans. Some sort of power issue on the 48 right now.
Bowman makes the pit stop, and that takes me to Bubba Wallace, head-to-head in-season challenge. Bubba up there in the 7th position, going to try and advance as we go on board SVG, and now he's right there behind Reddick for 2nd.
I think this is where we talk so much about the pace of SVG, maybe sometimes gets overlooked. Just the amount of racing experience, how many laps he has at courses like this, that with 20 to go, I think you're going to find a driver that he knows how to push it when he needs to, but he can be relatively methodical here and time these passes in the right spot.
What about it, Marty?
Yeah, Adam, great point that Steve just made, and Junior touched on it a little bit earlier. You know, when I spent some time with SVG after qualifying yesterday, he said this place is tougher than it's ever been. In fact, after his first lap in practice, he told me, I needed to take a breath. I told the team, that was a lot. I've got to kind of collect myself after that first lap in practice. And then he said, Junior, I rushed the wall 2 or 3 times in my qualifying lap, but that's what you have to do to extract time out of the car here at Chicago. But he told me, I won't do that same thing until late in the race. So when does SVG show us all the cards? Is it too early with 19 to go?
I think he's actually pushing to the limit right here. I mean, he can be fast and still be, he's got a tire advantage. He understands, look, as he goes to the inside here, Reddick, really nothing Reddick can do there. He's got a little bit of a tire advantage. He's overall just better, faster than these guys. Just more talented at doing what he needs to do to get around the street course faster. So maybe he's got a little in the tank just to be mistake-free, but he's absolutely starting to put the pressure on and drive this car to the limit, coming to 18 laps to go. And I'm sure he understands fully what strategy he's on and what strategy these other drivers are on, and the disadvantage they have to him in the tires. He's got to be loving that opportunity to know that he's got 12 lap better tires than the guys he's around.
Confidence never a problem,
man,
but the confidence on top of the advantage, and now, you know, he's just in a real good position to go out and get it done.
They're just making it too easy.
Yeah, 3/4 of a second faster on that last lap with a pass.
And the other thing, too, that we talked about in Mexico City is the way he uses the clutch. A lot of drivers don't heel and toe. He does use the clutch. He will claim that it's not an advantage to making him go faster. But what I believe that it does do is it saves the rear tire over the course of the long run. He can use, see that little bit of a lockup right there on the left front for the 19 car? Well, when SVG starts to feel like he may be sliding the rear tires, he will dampen that with the clutch. He will even release the clutch mid-corner to pitch to turn the car. He uses the clutch as a tool the same way you use the gas and the throttle. And over the course of the long run, he has a little bit better rear tire life. And as Parker said earlier today in the pre-race, rear grip is everything on a road course. And SVG has more of it than anyone on old tires because of the way he drives the car.
Doing good. Taking care of your tires. 19 trying to pick up the pace. He's still going to be short on fuel right now.
17 to go.
Well, with that information, you wonder if SVG is comfortable riding here. I don't think he is. I think he's going to jump right out of line. It's either here in turn 2 or turn 4. A little defensive on the 19. I think you're going to have a pass for the lead into turn 4 if SVG has his way. Very close. Patient?
Yeah, very patient. Smartly sort of waits for this opportunity, and he'll close the gap right here. See if he can create a run. Out of turn 5, not able to do it.
He loves that little pass 6 to 7. He's like the only one that kind of does it. Drivers right into 7. I'm not sure what it is about that downhill. Maybe that clutch you were talking about. He finds the advantage in that downhill braking zone.
Very much possible. you know, the only place that our drivers have been able to match SVG is pretty much in turns 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, where there's straightaway corner, right? You go through a corner, you go into a straightaway, you reset, and you do that. This is where SVG beats everyone, and it's where corners are tied together, and there's a lot of switchback, change direction. That's where he's really good at putting together time and getting through turn from, I would say, turn 7 to turn 10. He's better than anyone.
Turn 12, he's right there. Coming back to the start-finish line, 16 to go.
16 to go. And some of the patience might be the fuel load you see on the left side. Briscoe, Reddick just much lower on fuel load. So maybe SVG is like, there's no reason to make a mistake. I feel this guy has to do something. So if I have the opportunity, I will. He's kind of in a position right here.
He also has a 6-second advantage over the guy next in line on fuel, that being Ty Gibbs. Here it is out of turn 2, side by side for the lead. Racing down Lakeshore Drive, Shane Van Gisbergen, Chase Briscoe. 88 trying to go back on point. Turn 3, clear. Turn 4, turn 5, and there he goes.
That was spotter B with a clear for the lead, the 88.
Felt good, didn't it?
He did. Hold that one. He couldn't wait.
My man,
yes.
Back out front. Shane Van Gisbergen doing it to the field again in Chicago, and just like that, caution comes out. This relief lap sponsored by National Debt Relief. Ty Dillon getting the lap back here. Puts him back on the lead lap, so that means we'll have 28 cars on the lead lap under caution in The event here in Chicago on TNT, presented by Arby's. What a scene.
A little bit of weather.
Yeah, weather
kind of
changing.
moving in, yeah.
By the way, we got the caution. We said that going to break, and want to let everyone know what's going on here. There was an issue with one of the fans in the infield, and so they needed to get an ambulance to that area of the racetrack, and therefore, you know, being on a street course, different ways to move vehicles around, but you had to get the medical attention there, and so NASCAR forced to throw a caution in this situation. And now you start thinking about strategy, and with the yellow out right now, how do you handle that?
Yeah, I think SVG, you know, he understands he's in a great position. But we have so many of these great matchups. Busher, Zane Smith, they're nose to tail, 20th to 21st. Do you come get some tires? Is tires the pathway? John Hunter Nemechek in 9th. Chase Elliott all the way back at 24th. Like, these could be the decisions that move you through the bracket. So all right, Crew Chief 17, Busher's your guy. What are you doing? You want to race a Pocono? What are you doing wrong?
I think if you're Austin Hill or anybody back there around 15th to 17th, you would try to come to pit road, and you're going to drag a ton of people with you. You might lose a couple spots, but it puts you on the offense late in this race. There's liable to be multiple yellows and multiple restarts where you need to be aggressive, and having that tire life and that ability to be aggressive on those tires on restarts may give you a chance to drive that car up into the top 10 late in this race.
Decision time. I'm assuming the 88's going to stay out, but who doesn't?
Oh, the 45's coming. Wow.
Yeah, must have thought he needed fuel. 45, Blaney. Lap down behind him. Trying to see who else in the lead lap hits. Nemechek comes to pit road. Bush. So a few takers, Marty.
Steve, how about this play for Billy Scott and Tyler Reddick? Yes, this caution would have gotten them in terms of fuel what they needed to make it to the end of the race. But just what Junior said, he wanted to put his driver on offense. Tyler Reddick told Billy Scott, hey, I think I can keep up with them. If we have better tires than them, I feel good about it. Now, the question is, where is the 45 going to restart? Because it looks like a lonely pit road for this team. They're coming down and taking tires here for Tyler Reddick.
They didn't really draw a lot of cars down pit road behind them. You know, Stenhouse, Herbst, Ware, Busher, Bell, even Bowman stays out on the racetrack. So he's going to line up just outside the top 15.
Going to get a restart, you know, 12 laps to go. Tough situation for him.
Yeah, we got the weather moving in. It's kind of, it looks like it still might not get here. If we have, you know, if we have a couple more cautions, we might get rather on a very tail end of the race, but.
And electricity is my concern because we have wet weather equipment. Yeah. So a rain shower, I think we might be able to see some more racing, but electricity or lightning that could be an issue, yeah.
Ty Gibbs stays out here. He's third on the same strategy as race leader Shane Van Gisbergen.
Best we can tell, there's no weather coming, but certainly there's some lightning that is getting closer. And we have like some fog rolling in, and so who really knows?
Alan?
I'm with James Small, crew chief for Chase Briscoe. They had the option of coming in. You chose not to. What went behind that decision?
We're really close on making it on fuel here with this caution. And then you look over the buildings there, the weather's kind of rolling in rapidly and it's cooled down a lot. So, you know, I feel like there was going to be a lot of cars that stayed out there. And, you know, we would have been buried. So we'll just have to see how it goes here. Hopefully we get some rain in the end and puts us on an equal playing field again.
Right, he's absolutely right. You can see it over to his left and feel the temperature dropping. James Small making the call not to pit.
He and Reddick both on the same strategy. Reddick comes in, pits, Chase Briscoe stays out. Reminder, we're going next weekend racing in Sonoma. Xfinity Series taking care of business Saturday. Coverage on the CW begins 4 o'clock Eastern time.
You know, one thing, Busher stayed out, sitting 15th. He's kind of the last car on old tires, right? And Zane Smith's in 24th right now with new tires. That's a bracket battle that could be the difference in one of those drivers winning $1 million in a couple weeks.
It's a bracket battle that some are very interested in.
Yes, me. I mean, most of the other brackets kind of played out.
I got the John Hunter Elliott one. It's still got a lot of battle to figure out as well.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I liked how McDowell earlier in the race was going late in the zone. I thought it really helped him from the inside. We'll see if SVG makes that adjustment. He didn't do that at the start. I thought it was a mistake. He lost the lead.
Going to be 13 to go. as we return to the green flag. Shane Van Gisbergen, Chase Briscoe front row.
A lot of contact right there. Car's trying to get the power down and accelerate out of turn 12.
Ty Gibbs, same tires.
Look at
same for A.J. Allmendinger. Getting aggressive on the restart. And there they go around. Ross Chastain hits the tires in turn 1.
That's bumper cars. Hits the tires, straightens up. What a move by the 1. The 2 car has a broken toe link. He's going to have some trouble.
More contact. The 22's going around.
And that's going to clog up this exit. Oh, man.
Get it rolling here,
47 of Ricky Stenhouse is backwards.
And I think about all the bracket battles going on right now and the exchange of positions in this situation.
Oh, Stenhouse was looking good. This is going to hurt. He was going to advance over Jones, who was a lap down, and I think Stenhouse is going to have some problems.
Restart not been good to Briscoe. Started on the front row, dropping back. Hamlin got by, and now he's under attack by Bubba Wallace. Ryan Preece in line as well, and Kyle Larson back up there in the game.
Yeah, the 47 still hasn't moved from turn 2, trying to get that car turned around. That's probably going to bring out a yellow if he's not able to clear the area.
Yeah, the right front's broke. I mean, Ricky's trying. The car's just not going to move. Oh, there you go. He's got it sliding. Going backwards is frowned upon, and he knows it, right? You would love to be able to turn. Oh, great job. Good job by Ricky to let this thing continue to run.
Man.
Ty Gibbs. I was just going to say, Ty Gibbs is not letting the 88 get away. He's going to keep him honest. We got replays, and we got a lot.
Yep, this is turn 1. The 2 just loses it under braking and plows and bowls into the field, takes the 1 out. And then down into turn 2. Well, we'll take a look here at the 20. Here's riding on board. Let's be quiet here and listen. Yep, he's got the rears locked up. Can't get slowed down. Ends up plowing into the field there.
You know, 8 tires corner better than 4. Well, that was, I don't know, 4, 8, looks like about 24. Yep. 24 tires.
That's pretty good math.
Yeah.
And then down in turn 2, the 22 gets spun around as well. And back up front, the 88 of Shane Van Gisbergen is trying to draw away from the 54 of Gibbs. Both on equal tires. Came in lap 42. Here's the 2 car. Stopped on the racetrack, and that's going to bring out the yellow.
6th caution of the day.
Crew Chief Earnhardt, you don't want to hear this. 17 didn't hear you, and Zane Smith has passed him on the racetrack in that bracket matchup.
Dale's disgusted.
He doesn't want to talk about it. Good talk. Yeah. Good talk.
Van Gisbergen leading Gibbs and Allmendinger in Chicago.
battle for the lead. Shane Van Gisbergen to the inside.
He has been in this moment before.
It has been 60 years since a driver has won in their series debut. Van Gisbergen is going to do it again. He wins in Chicago.
In NASCAR, you spell Chicago SVG. Shane Van Gisbergen wins again in the Windy City. Is there any debate when it comes to our top dog presented by Chewy? I mean, this guy is just incredible at this racetrack, Shane Van Gisbergen. Today, the fifth start he's made here in NASCAR's top 2 series, Cup and Xfinity. If he goes on to win, he'd be 4 for 5. And the only time he didn't win was last year when he was in control of the race and you felt like he had the car and got involved in an accident. So just really special when it comes to racing on the streets of Chicago.
Yeah, the caution's kind of drawing things out a little bit as the weather continues to move in. There's a ton of fog on the backside of this camera shot right here.
It is crazy.
Only about a mile away from the racetrack. And coming through those buildings right there. And that's a concern, I think, more so than lightning or potential rain. Danielle, what you got on the 1 car?
Yeah, Dale, Ross Chastain was just a part of that previous wreck there that brought out the caution. He was punted into the tire stacks, but it straightened him back out. He said not a lot of damage, car feels good. Stevie, they were 2 to 4 laps short on fuel before this caution. This might put them right on their window right now, running 9th.
Yeah, you figure basically like a 2 to 1 or 2.5 to 1. So what I mean by that is, you know, you get to run 2 or 2.5 laps and only burn 1 lap worth of fuel. This will get them very, very close. And to Dale's point about the weather, I mean, you just wonder how many more laps we're going to see in general, because we have Hamlin and Briscoe in 4th and 5th, who has even shorter fuel than the 1 car. So there's a lot of fuel management inside the top 10. No concern for SVG or Gibbs, though, or Allmendinger. The top 3 should all be good.
Bubba Wallace, another driver, you know, in that situation. You talk about those that needed the cautions to make sure they can make it, but another portion of the drama that could unfold late if you get someone running out of gas, causing a caution, getting in front of somebody, and, you know, being off pace in one of these tight corners.
It shocked me. And we talked about this tire having a little bit more fall off. You know, we saw that start down the front stretch. There was chunks of tire going, like there's a lot of rubber out there all wide. You know,
you can see the drivers right here, Steve, aggressively cleaning their tires because, you know, the leaders are throwing off chunks of tires. We're coming up on the chews, I believe. So all these cars are picking up all of that tire rubber and everything that everybody's cleaning off their tires. You got to stay active as you're trying to keep these tires ready to go to fire off into turn 1.
Alan, what about Ty Gibbs?
Well, the radio is really interesting. They know who the target is. It's SVG. Over the radio, Chris Gabehart had an explanation for his driver, Ty Gibbs.
Well, looking at the data a little bit closer, I will tell you that it's mostly him about 1 mile an hour faster by releasing the brake slightly sooner than you. So it's kind of his mid-corner speed. It's just a mile an hour higher, which translates to a better exit. So it's not that he's launching better than you. He's just able to roll a little bit more mid-corner speed due to trailing off the brake slightly sooner.
And Gabehart even reminded him, look, if you're able to clear SVG loves doing that crossover move. Just remember that. Have that in the memory bank.
A lot of great information for a driver. That's a lot to process. I'll give these drivers, they process a lot.
9 laps to go when we return to the green flag. Shane Van Gisbergen in control. Ty Gibbs looking for his first career victory. Wants to punch his ticket to the playoffs. Same for A.J. Allmendinger, who will start in row 2.
You see all the drivers over there on such a heavy tire deficit. Hamlin, Briscoe, Wallace, just trying to survive to the end of this race and get the result. They will have a lot of hard work to do to fend off all the new tires behind them. There's the launch right there. SVG is going to clear.
Allmendinger getting aggressive from row 2.
He's going to dive back and forth, trying to get around this 54 in the braking zone.
I mean, he is just darting all around. A.J. Allmendinger trying to win his way to the postseason. Hamlin's right there with him. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. released from the care center.
54 kind of missed turn 2. I didn't know if the 16 would have a run. Not so much. I think Ty Gibbs kind of got away with that. Blocked from it. Allmendinger into 4.
Ryan Preece having a day.
Everybody through turns 4 and 5 clean.
Heading down Columbus Drive. And the always dangerous turn 6. The gap is solid for Shane Van Gisbergen. Over the railroad tracks, down to turn 7, the right-hander in Michigan Avenue.
I'm sorry, Dale.
Little challenge in the braking zone down here. Looks like the 45 of Reddick trying to get to the inside of the 1.
Reddick on those tires, working his way back to the top 10. They said, let's be aggressive. Let's put our driver on the attack. And he is. And remember last year he had that great rally late in the race.
Bowman also
Preece to the inside. Yep. Contact. Then that's a flat tire. The 19's got a right front flat. After that contact, not going to be able to get to pit road. That's a terrible break for Briscoe. Going to have to go all the way around this racetrack with a right front flat.
8 laps to go.
Still coming by on your right here.
You see those lockups into turn 2. To me, in those lockups here late in the race, that'll puncture a tire as well. Oh, the 1 car pushing the 5 of Larson into the corner.
You mentioned it. Reddick and Bowman on those new tires. Dale, you wanted tires, and that was the right call. They are coming in a big hurry. Bowman right there behind Bubba Wallace. Reddick right behind him.
You know, it's ironic you got Bowman and Reddick on that strategy. They were the ones first and second fighting for the win here last year late in the race.
And that's a bracket battle with Alex Bowman and Bubba Wallace as well. Can Reddick be a good teammate and busy up Bowman for a little bit here? Save Bubba a little bit of time as his laps click away. I just don't feel like that Bubba is going to be able to hold off the newer tires.
I don't know with 8 to go if they can get all the way to SVG, but if we have another restart and they can line up a couple rows closer.
Here's a dive to the inside. Not going to be able to get there.
Such a fun interview in a pre-race with Marty between these two. It was playful back and forth, but they've had their moments talking about Bowman and Bubba, and the battle in the bracket is on.
Yeah,
racing for 6th.
Bubba's going to try to get the outside here. Not going to be able to do it. That would have put him on line for the inside pass here, but now he's vulnerable to the 45. Going to give that spot up to Reddick.
Great move by Reddick. I love the crossover to the right. Now can he just get to 23 in the next corner? Can Reddick make up for the mistake in the closing laps a year ago? I thought he was going to catch Bowman. He had a little wall contact right here in turn 5. Oh,
he's got to defend right there. Oh, the 23 into the wall just a little bit. Now he's offline to 23. Into the fence in turn 4.
That's what happens. You put that pressure on.
That's right.
Forces a mistake.
That's right.
Here's Reddick down to turn 6.
You get Reddick in some clean air, we're going to see what he's going to run. Bubba defends, but Reddick will be in a great position for 7 if he can stay there. He is. This will have to be a concession out of Bubba Wallace.
Even. Still there. Clear. 48 with you.
Now the 48's trying to go through here. They're going to battle. A lot of contact right there. Alex around the outside here in turn 9.
There could be something happen right here. These two at this track.
Oh, man. Back to the inside in the braking zone, more contact. Alex is probably going to clear right here. Bubba's going to go the inside into the back bumper of the 48.
Wow. I mean, the back and forth.
Oh, more contact right there.
What is it about Bubba and Bowman? They just get connected. We saw it at the Roval a few years ago. We saw it here last year. What a mess heading to turn 1.
It's going to send Bubba wide right here, but Bubba can retaliate down here in turn 2. Bubba slides it into turn 2.
I think Bowman knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Bowman gave him this ball. Oh, he's got him hooked.
Oh, the 40 to 23's around backwards.
And here comes Kyle Busch. Kyle with issues earlier in the race, but he's making a rally late. Keep a camera on Alex Bowman and Bubba Wallace post-race.
Bubba's got his car moving. Trying to drive away. Heavy damage, bent toe links, broken toe links to the back of the 23. Slowly working his way down around turn 4.
When all that happened, the 45 had kind of jumped over as the pushing and shoving continues. He's jumped the gat all the way to the rear bumper of the 60.
Oh, this is too good right here. A lot of contact between Christopher Bell and Larson.
Two drivers that have won 3 times this year. Bell won earlier in the campaign on the road, Circuit of the Americas. Austin Hill having a nice day, driving that 3rd car for Richard Childress Racing. 2nd of 5 starts this year for him.
Austin Hill clearing the 5. Here comes Joey Logano on newer tires.
5 laps to go at Chicago.
Take a look at the replay between Bubba Wallace and Bowman. Riding on board with Alex Bowman. Oh, wow. We got another one around right here, the 20 of Christopher Bell.
I got the 4 coming.
Bell was making such a good push through the field.
Man, the gloves have come off on the last 10 laps. It's unbelievable.
We got the restart like 9 to go, and it's been so physical since the green flag went back in the air.
We're going to need to see what all these drivers think they need to do at the end of this race. The 38 having a little bit of trouble there. I'm not sure if he hadn't had contact. He's got a bent toe link. That thing looks a little bit sideways.
Zane Smith 13th right now.
He is hanging on. Everybody looks a little sideways right now.
John Hunter Nemechek, Chase Elliott fighting in the bracket. They're not too far away from each other on track. Look at this right here, nose to tail coming to turn 12. 42 and 9. Great battles everywhere. So much on the line to win the race and to advance in the bracket. 4 to go at Chicago.
Tyler Reddick has run the fastest lap of the race in the 4th position. He has cut the lead down to 4 seconds. 1 second faster than the leader. A second faster than SVG. Reddick is making moves.
Just going to run out of time.
I don't think so.
I think he will.
Well, it's going to be interesting because it was this a year ago where he caught the wall and it hurt him. I think it just comes down to, does the 2 Toyotas in front of him battle or do they concede? If the 11 pulls over and the 54 pulls over as soon as he gets there, and is 88 at 80% or is 88 at 100%?
That's right. 88's got a little bit more in the tank. Sitting here controlling a 1.5 second lead over Ty Gibbs.
What a lap by the 45, though. Fastest of the whole race.
But here's a team that had gone through a lot of struggles in the month of June, talking about Tyler Reddick. And they bounced back. Solid run last week in Atlanta in the top 5, and he served notice again this weekend. They are a real player.
You see the slipping and sliding out of the 11. Dale, you talked about it. These tires could just fall off a cliff, and I think that's what's happening. The 45 tires are way better, and everyone in front, when it's time to go, there's just nothing to lean on.
3 laps remaining.
Another great lap by Reddick, 8 tenths, 9 tenths faster than SVG. It's going to come down to traffic and passes. He's going to have to be super efficient, and what does the 88 have left? The 11 concedes.
Yeah, Denny's going to let him go by here.
A great effort for Denny Hamlin. Had the engine issue, didn't get any laps yesterday, but they fought all day long. Looks like another top 5 for Hamlin.
What a drive by Reddick so far. You had mentioned all the other battles. You have Zane Smith right there in 13th, outrunning Busher.
Nemechek and Elliott.
I know. They're everywhere.
It's a great setup to next week. Road racing again in Sonoma. You can watch it all Sunday afternoon, TNT. But we're not done here yet. Still a lot on the line in Chicago.
Reddick has made a drive. I just think, you're right, Dale, I think it's too late. I just don't think he has the laps. He needs a couple more or a yellow. Gosh knows we have enough pushing and shoving all around the track. We could get a yellow.
Turn 11.
Oh, a little contact, slaps the left rear quarter panel on the fence.
I mean, he's
pushing pushing for everything he's got.
It's qualifying laps every corner.
Yeah.
2 to go.
He needs to get the 54 in turn 4. The only chance he has is he needs to have a lap and a half to try to run the 88 down. I just don't know if he can do it.
And if you're Shane Van Gisbergen with the advantage he has, just get back to the white flag. You don't want another restart here in overtime and everything that could come with that. Talk about the ability to sweep a weekend and do it from the pole. Shane Van Gisbergen has just been so good at this racetrack. Both days, yesterday and today, they've had some things that didn't necessarily go their way. Strategy maybe put them a little bit behind because of how everyone else played it, but he always finds a way. Tremendous balance of patience and aggression.
I just don't think, you know, to your point, Steve, he needed to pass this 54 sooner. Now he's going to probably have to follow the 54 all the way around through this series of corners to turn maybe 11 or 12.
Tight with the 54 here, tight with the 54.
Can't really present an opportunity to pass through these corners.
That's right. He needed this to be clear track to try to make some ground on the 88.
For sure.
So now the question is who's going to finish second. I still think the 45 is the car with the better tires. I think he'll get Gibbs.
Oh, man, he won in the wall.
Cody Ware's off the track.
This will be big. Does the leader take the white flag or will the caution come out? That's the decision.
He's going to try to hustle back to the white flag because once he takes the white flag, the next flag will end the race. 1 lap to go, sponsored by Credit One Bank. We are still green.
So if a caution comes out now, the race will be over. It'll be official. Who runs second, Reddick or Gibbs, and can SVG get it back around?
It's turn 6 where the 51 is stuck. I'd be
and
surprised.
there's the caution.
I was going to say, I was surprised that they would not throw the yellow. They can't allow the field to race through turn 6 with a car in the tire barrier. So that's the call NASCAR has to make.
He's able to hustle it back to the white flag, making this race official. And now a Sunday drive through the streets of Chicago for Shane Van Gisbergen as he comes back to claim the checkered flag.
Man, that last 15 laps had everything. I know we heard Bowman and Bubba in pre-race. I thought they were kind of just playing it up. I think they were being honest at this point. They had run each other over all day.
Tiptoe through turn 6 where the incident happened. Over the railroad tracks down to Michigan Avenue. The right-hander at turn 7.
Look at this top 10. Kyle Busch able to battle back to a 5th place. Austin Hill going to get a top 10 on a street course in Chicago.
And look at the names that are up there. Could be a preview of what we'll see next week in Sonoma when we're racing on the road again. Turn 11, down the hill to turn 12, and the right-hander to come back to victory. Maybe just go ahead and give him a key to the city because Shane Van Gisbergen does own the streets of Chicago. He delivers once again.
Hell yeah, buddy. Weekend sweep. You are a bat. 88 team.
36 years old from Auckland, New Zealand. Second victory of the year. And some more playoff points as he starts thinking about what will happen later this year in the postseason. Gibbs, Reddick, Hamlin, Kyle Busch complete the top 5. Allmendinger had a good day with 6th. Ryan Preece delivers again. Those 36 points, ends up 7th. He's only 3 points below the cut line as we head to Sonoma. 8s are wild. Driver 88 does it. Shane Van Gisbergen in Chicago. Back to where it all began. 2 years ago, Shane Van Gisbergen came to Chicago, an unknown in the NASCAR world. Did the unthinkable, wins in his first career start. Opened the door for him last year to win, to go to the Xfinity Series, run full-time. He was a rookie, got 3 straight victories on the road last summer, and on the verge of doing it now at the Cup level as a first-year driver. Got it done at Mexico City. Does it here in Chicago, and he'll try to win 3 in a row on the road next weekend in Sonoma, California. Incredible weekend. He gets the sweep, and he's celebrating again, Marty.
Adam, a flat clinic from Shane Van Gisbergen on the streets of Chicago once again. And he gets to celebrate with the crew, the Kiwi, showing why he's the current king of the road in NASCAR. I love his comments yesterday when he said this track is tougher than it's ever been, but he made it look easy today. Hey Shane, I know you're not a fan of cities, but this place changed your life 2 years ago. I think you might want to think about a temporary residence here in Chicago.
Yeah, I love this place. Give me a moment. Let me kick this thing.
Yeah, sure. We'll do this early. He does the rugby ball into the stands. A short kick today. A+. Very nice. Well done on the kick. You didn't have to kick it very far today, did you?
Yeah, that was much better. But what an amazing weekend for me. Lucky guy to drive some great cars. And I thank Trackhouse, WeatherTech, Chevy, and all these guys and girls here. What an amazing weekend. Thanks for everyone for coming out, and hope we put on a good show.
What is it about you and this racetrack that just fits so well, Shane?
I guess we made no mistakes. You know, there were some really fast cars, and we just seemed to get it right, you know, and make no mistakes, be smooth every lap, and really cool.
When you and I chatted, Stephen Doran, his crew chief, when you and I chatted yesterday, you said this track is tougher than it's ever been. Why was it such a challenge this weekend?
It was just so hot this weekend, you know. The track was very slick, and the times were a lot slower, and the margin for error was very tiny. So just had to get it right, and I'm wrapped.
How about the role this team has played, or how about the role this team is on the last 4 weeks? 4 weeks ago, you were out of the playoffs. Now you have 10 playoff points with 2 wins, and Sonoma coming up next week.
Yeah, how good is that? Unreal. We've really come together as a team, got a lot better, and Ross got a win too, so brilliant. Thank you to everyone.
Yeah, Shane Van Gisbergen wins once again on the streets of Chicago in front of the fans here, and the rugby ball. I can confirm, Adam, did hit the last row in these stands.
No truth to the rumor he signed a free agent deal with the Bears. That's not accurate. No. But he has been getting a lot of experience punting this weekend. Victory yesterday in the Xfinity Series from the pole, and he does it today from the pole as well, leading 26 laps. And he'll be the favorite when we get to wine country next weekend. Our post-race coverage continues. Coming up from Chicago. 2 years ago, we were trying to figure out how to pronounce his name. Now it's Old Hat in Chicago. Say it with me. Shane Van Gisbergen, a winner in Chicago. Plenty more coming next on TNT.
We are the ones at the top of the mountain, climbed all the way up and never looked down. If the road was rough, we might not have found the blood and some guts and thousands of hours. We welcome you now to our arena. If you don't know right now, it's hard to beat us. You can tell by our demeanor how hard we leaning. You will remember when you see it in lights. We are the champions. We are the champions. We will fight through the pain. We'll be legends tonight. We are the champions. We are the champions.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's